is my purpose here, inside this tree? Was I put in this tree by a greater power? Or was it my destiny to be stuck inside this tree? Do I really have free will?
You might think this is unnecessary, but excuse me, I'm the one teaching you here. Do not question my method. It's important to be humble when people give you compliments online. I know. I'm kidding. Alright, should we ruin Grob's house?
Do it, Dave.
In game, you need to have a good kill-death ratio in real life. That's a joke. Don't demonetize me, YouTube. Yes, Fly Hacker defeated. Gonna need stronger hacks than that to end this win streak. Yeah. And he walked off the map. Welcome to Skywars. And the player began a new dream. 10 million subscribers, baby. That's the new dream.
Well, I'm so excited.
Welcome, everybody, to Technoblade's
My left
spectacular 20 million substravaganza. Let me just say, when a bell rings, many people just look at it. Others know it's a call to greatness. For years, one name answered that call louder than any other. Today, it rings not in battle, but in tribute. If you scroll down, if you look under the, like on YouTube, it's got the window, and then it's got the title, and then it says Technoblade. You can see it says 20M subscribers, 20 million subscribers. What a feat. Who doesn't want to celebrate that? But Alex didn't start with 20 million subscribers. It took a lot of grit, analytics, and sarcasm. He started his channel in October of 2013, and few were lucky enough to see those early days.
Hello, I'm Technoblade's mom, and I'm here today to talk to you about some of Alex's experiences in his early years, which we figure helped form him into the eventual Minecraft legend he became. So one of the things people have asked me about is Alex's musical experience. Did he play an instrument? And he did. He played the violin. The whole experience turned out to be a big deal for him. When Alex was in elementary school, they asked him to pick an instrument in 4th grade, and he came home and announced he wanted to play the violin. I was flabbergasted. I've played the piano since childhood, but I had no experience with real stringed instruments, and I didn't think I could help him much. Plus, it turns out violin is the second hardest instrument to learn to play. But Alex had made up his mind. He insisted, so that's the instrument he chose. But at first, he did not learn very easily. Somehow, he didn't believe he really had to practice at home, and that the once-a-week group lesson wasn't enough to teach him to make a good sound. His wonderful teacher started a lunchtime tutoring session for the kids falling behind, and when I discovered he was in it and found out he really isn't practicing at all, we changed his routine at home. From then on, it was the requested 15 minutes every day. Alex would watch the timer covertly, but he started really learning. I got some music flashcards, and the first 3 minutes of practice, he agreed to do the flashcards with me, things like treble clef, quarter notes, eventually the notes themselves. But Alex was insistent he could not learn to sight read and didn't want me to teach him to do it. And I agreed not to push him on it. His playing picked up pretty quickly. I learned later that about the flashcards, the reason he agreed to do that was he felt like it got him out of 3 minutes of real practice. Even then, he was a strategist. But I had a secret strategy too. I was slowly and secretly introducing sight reading. Within a couple of weeks, he had moved back into the regular class at the very bottom of the second violin group. And after a couple of months of steady work, he found himself almost accidentally actually reading along the music as he played, playing much better, and actually enjoying it. That's when it turned out he had an unexpected talent for playing violin. And in the next few months, by the end of the year, he was moved to the first violin group. And at the end of the school year, at the concert, he was presented with one of the few awards that they gave, Most Improved. And at that concert, he was presented with this little plaque for Most Improved. This made a big impression on 9-year-old Alex. I congratulated him on his achievement, and he shared he had learned how to get this award. Hard work, I asked, steady practice? No, he said, first do really badly, then do well. That impresses people. That was not the lesson I was hoping for. The only other awards given were to the students who had accumulated the most practice hours during the years. And these were much more elaborate awards. They were nice-looking medals hung on pretty ribbons, and Alex noticed those and liked those. So first he asked me,
the audio
Mom, can I have private
loud?
lessons? And I arranged those.
Okay.
Then he asked, hey, those lessons, that time counts toward my practice accumulation, right? I checked and they did. And his initial plan for the next year for all of 5th grade, he was going to nail that award. He was going to practice 2 hours a day, which is well over the 15-minute requirement. And he actually started that, but then eventually he worked down to practicing 1 hour a day. His playing improved so much, he was asked to do a solo at the end of the year concert, and he chose Scarborough Fair. I had some Simon and Garfunkel music combined with the folk song Canticle, and we arranged it so I played the pretty Scarborough Fair melody, and he came in with the haunting descant of Canticle on the violin. It was beautiful. And the whole experience led to him enjoying playing throughout middle school and through most of high school. Also, by the way, after his solo, they presented the awards that year, and he got the coveted Practice Award Medal. Alex really liked stories. He liked hearing stories, and eventually he liked telling stories. And part of that came from, early on, he became a real reader. And by that I mean a person who reads a lot for fun. When he was in 3rd grade, a relative was talking to me about him and said, oh, does he have the reading bug yet? And I said, no, I don't think so. They said, oh, it's too late if he doesn't have it by now. I disagreed, and I went to the local bookstore and found 2 series books I thought he would enjoy. One was Chris DeLacy's Last Dragon Chronicles, which Alex liked and he read, but the other series, John Flanagan's Ranger's Apprentice series, practically became an obsession. This story, set in medieval times, which was a big win, revolves around a kid growing up in a medieval village castle environment. The character Will, who's coincidentally Alex's same age at the time, like many of the boys, really wants to be a knight. He wants to wield a sword, ride battle horses, go to combat. He is smart and athletic, but very small for his age. He's actually very good at climbing the castle walls to steal sweets. But at the big day when the recruiting is done, he's turned down as too small to be a knight. But someone recruits him to be a ranger. And these rangers were forest warriors who learned to track, shoot bow and arrows, do scouting, sneak around in the woods, and do some sword work. Will starts this program, and the series lasts for many books. I think the reason Alex really liked this series was partially because of the setting in medieval times and the idea of sword fighting, but particularly because this young boy, Will, got to learn all these cool skills. Also in the book, Will was assigned an old horse named Tug, and Tug was hilarious. He was always giving him a sardonic glance if he thought Will was making a mistake, or huffing out a sarcastic whinny if Will seemed to be getting too big for his britches. This really tickled Alex. He really likes humor in his stories. So he read the first 3 books, and then for the next several years agonized waiting each year for the new book to come out. Now, a fun part of this was that a year and a half after Alex started this series, he ran across a side ad while playing a computer game. And this ad was to take a chance on a lottery to win a place in a ranger's apprentice camp in the summer. He thought it was a scam, but he brought it to me. I looked it up. It was a real camp, and here it was only January, and it was for the summer. It was in Austin, Texas. And I called them, and the camp was already full. Plus, it was a day camp, not an overnight camp, so he'd have to be dropped off every morning and picked up. So I put him on a waiting list, and he was number 11. He really wanted to go. All spring he asked me about it. I checked every month. No one dropped out, no movement on the waiting list. Finally, 3 days before the camp was to start in June, I called one last time. Magic happened. Someone had dropped out 20 minutes before I called. They offered Alex the slot. I hastily made plane reservations, found a motel, and we went. The experience started poorly. Our flight was delayed and then canceled. Then we got into Austin in the motel after midnight. So Alex was short of sleep that first morning. Plus, like in the book, it was mostly outdoors and in the woods, and June in Austin, very, very humid. Also, they forgot to give him a water bottle, and the backup water bottle I had brought turned out to be cracked, so that first day he got dehydrated. However, they did give him the green cloak that they made for all the kids, and best of all, they brought out the padded swords. So we still have this. It's a little banged up now.
God.
He loved the cape, but he adored the sword. The first time they brought it out, they asked, would somebody like to be in a mock demo? Alex's hand apparently went right up, and the instructor told me later, you know, he was so into it, instead of just doing it for 10 seconds, he said, he and I had a mock duel for like 3 minutes. From then on, Alex was fully engaged. He had a great time, and when he came home, he played with the sword till he beat all the duct tape off it. I had to rewrap it twice, and he never got rid of the cape. He loved the sneaking around lessons in the woods, and I believe this and the sword fighting influenced his Minecraft strategies later on.
Hi everyone. You haven't seen me before. I'm Alex's first cousin, and we grew up together. We share a birthday exactly 3 years apart to the day. Growing up, we would spend a lot of holidays together, and I remember this one Christmas where I was about 10, so he must have been 13. We had finished unwrapping the presents an hour or two earlier, and I remember seeing Alex in a room all by himself off to the side, playing something on his iPad. My mom asked me if I could go over and talk to him, since I was the only other cousin that was interested in video games. I remember going over, sitting down, trying to figure out what he was up to, asking what he was playing. He showed me a screen with a game called Minecraft, and he showed me how you can punch blocks to get resources. I remember seeing the excitement in his eyes as he showed me the house that he had built, the cool things he'd been able to craft, and the world that he was able to explore. I had never heard of the game, and I'd never seen Alex so excited about anything. At that time, he hadn't started his YouTube channel yet, and he had no idea what this game would do for him, for his community, for his family. I don't think he would believe it now.
I just kind of wanted to take a sec to talk about how I met Techno. We met through a mutual friend. If you're watching this, you know who you are. In high school, in our senior year, in our government class. And immediately, I was kind of surprised at how Alex was such a weird combination of like incredibly funny, but very quiet and kind of stuck to himself. It took a few months for me to even learn that he was Technoblade. I think at the time he had like 300,000 subscribers, which is obviously still an insane amount, but nowhere near what he ended up at before he passed or what his channel is at now. He was just so fun to be around. During our senior year, I took a trip to go visit a family member in another state after I learned that he was Techno. He had a catalog of like 200 videos already, and whenever I had downtime, I just watched his videos. Not because it was like I want to be a fan of him, but I was like, this guy's really funny, you know? And that was one of my favorite things about him, was just his genuine sense of humor. He turned anything into something that could be funny. In our government class, we were in kind of a little friend group. There was about 4 of us, and Alex was always the one popping jokes first whenever we had a group project, and every time it was a mess, we still found, you know, the comedy in it.
Back in what must have been 2014 to 2015, I remember my school friend telling me about the best PvPer in the world, Technoblade. Back then, knowing nothing about him, I had no clue about just how much he would inspire me in the future. I was never that good at school. I couldn't keep my attention in class, and I had a lot of difficulty figuring out what I wanted to do with the rest of my life, and what I wanted to study after high school. But watching Techno helped me answer that question. I wanted to do what he was doing. I wanted to keep playing Minecraft. But he never stopped inspiring me past that point. I've tried multiple times to adjust myself to the ever-changing YouTube algorithm, and ended up getting burned out. The thing that always gets me out of that headspace is remembering Techno built his entire channel while always staying true to himself. And that helps me a lot. I've stopped trying to twist my content into shapes it's not supposed to be, because I had a strong example of someone who was just unapologetically himself.
My favorite Technoblade video has got to be the one where he's talking about dropping out of college to do YouTube full time. It popped up in my sub box at a very serendipitous time for me. Because, like him, things were starting to take off. You know, I was making money doing the thing I loved, and hearing him talk about all his stresses, making such a huge decision, taking such a big plunge in his life, it really, really spoke to me. Because he was taking a risk. Granted, it was a very calculated risk, which I think is on brand for him. But a risk nonetheless. Despite not being entirely sure of his decision and his future, he decided to go in head first.
Hi, I'm so honored to be part of this video, even though I became really good friends with Technoblade. As many of you may know, I started off as a Technoblade fangirl. A story for another time, but it is definitely a very, very unique way to become friends with someone, I must say. My favorite memory with Technoblade is, it's such a hard question because he's just such a great guy, but there were times where we would get into call and unintentionally it would be 9 hours later. Like, we sat in call for 9 hours or even longer, and we would just be talking about everything in life. Everything. There was nothing off limits, and it was just such a refreshing and deep conversation every single time we talked. I know to the audience, we had this very fun dynamic of like, oh, he cyberbullies me, and it's a very fun and interesting thing to look back on. I love watching all the videos and compilations that people have made, but truly, like, our friendship and our conversations we'd have off camera were so different and meaningful, and it's a very, very special memory for me. Everything, all of it. I just look back on it very fondly.
After Alex passed, we had the privilege of learning about his community, learning about all of you, your grief, your compassion, and the energy that you have and the ideas about how to make the world a better place. We wanted to scale up the efforts that Alex had led that so many of you had contributed to.
23,000 people is watching right now.
The One of Us Global Foundation. We needed someone with decades of experience in nonprofit leadership. Stacy?
One of Us strives to break down social and economic barriers facing young people, like many of you today, and build a global community where all of you are authentically connected and where diversity is celebrated, not feared. We do this through mentorship, training, funding, and building global networks, and we provide tools, resources, and love so that young people can change landscapes and make the world a better place, just the way Technoblade did. What makes One of Us unique is that we not only help provide young people a way to lift up their voices and realize their dreams in their communities, but we do that in our own organization by ensuring young people are the leaders and decision makers, and by ensuring we have a culture where they feel they can bring their creative ideas forward and where they truly belong. For one example of that, our inaugural program, Potato Seeds, was created and fully developed by 2 of our youth leaders, while the more seasoned folks in our organization provided advice and support. I'm deeply inspired by all of our team members, including A's, one of our founding Youth Advisory Committee members. Take it away, A's.
I joined the One of Us Global Foundation because I wanted to help create a space of love and wholeness for young people, especially when we're in a world right now that's maybe a little bit more trying. Over the last 2 years, I have felt lucky to be able to help create these amazing projects that are helping empower young people, like the Potato Seeds Initiative and the upcoming podcast, where young people are really being empowered to share their thoughts, their feelings, for us to hear their voices, and for their brilliant ideas on how to change the world and come together. It takes a collective of diverse minds and thinking to create really positive impact. I know everyone skips past the ads on YouTube. I do it too, but hear me out, please. Maybe instead of grabbing that $5 cup of coffee on your way to work tomorrow, you donate those $5 to us. We are ever expanding as a foundation to help more young people and their brilliant ideas. Together, we can change the world.
Thank you, A's. The One of Us Global Foundation is funded by grants from Stacy and me, and by our annual Festival of Voices, which many of you have contributed to. We do have a small number of paid staff members, but it's mostly a volunteer organization, and no one in my family draws a salary. Stacy works herself to the bone. Okay, well, you do work very hard. Stacy works very hard on the foundation, and she's not drawing a salary, just so you know. Anyway, happy birthday, Alex.
Happy birthday.
Everyone reveres Technoblade today, but now it can be told he had a hidden dark side as well. I'm here to rip the lid off the idea that Technoblade was wonderful in every way, and to show you the dark, dirty secrets that will change your view of him forever. This is the dark side of Technoblade. When he ran out of toilet paper, he'd get a new roll out of this cabinet. But would he put it in the holder? No. When I told him to close the cabinet door when he was done with it, he would say, "Why? I'm just going to open it again next time I need something." Before the wars of potatoes and the various SMPs, there was Hypixel. Sky Wars, Bed Wars, different kinds of wars. Anyone who joined a lobby with Alex was about to have their streak obliterated, all while he made his dry comments. Sorry to all the tryhards that he upset.
Hey Technoblade, Simon here, also known as Hypixel. Yes. Congrats on 20 million subscribers. I remember about 10 years ago giving you the YouTube rank for reaching 20,000 subscribers.
I swear to God, if it's a dirt shack, I'm gonna flip it. Wait, what? Oh my God, what?
Your reaction was a highlight I'll never forget. You were just getting started back then, but we all knew you were someone that would do great things, and you sure did.
Listen up, I'll be honest. This took me way too long to write. I wish I could tell you I have some epic, heartwarming tale about my brother, something that would make you cry and then subscribe out of sheer emotional manipulation. But no, I don't have that. I don't even have a story where I save him from a burning building or something. All I've got are the little things, the experiences, the memories, and me. A random stranger you've never heard about until now.
I'll never forget the time when I first found out about Technoblade. This is all the way back when Skywars was in its golden age. I walked into my brother's room and he's laying on the floor watching a Skywars video. And I just hear this guy going around Skywars and he's just telling people frog facts.
If you want to get good at frog, you got to learn more about frog. Did you guys know that some frogs can leap up to 20 times their body length?
It was absurd. All the while he's going around dressed as a frog. Like he's got the frog skull on instead of a helmet, and he's just destroying players. Like he's making it look easy.
I think my first video I ever saw of him, he was playing Skywars, and he was just talking about, like, I don't know what it was. It was like Greek history, Roman history. I cannot even remember, but it was some random subject, and just discussing it within like his audience and just talking to them and talking to people, and it was so entertaining. That was like the beginning.
He was definitely the most unique and entertaining creator that I had ever seen in Skywars so far. And I'm pretty sure I didn't get anything else done for the rest of the day because I was just binge watching techno videos.
My name is Josh, otherwise known as Boffy on YouTube, and Technoblade is the whole reason my channel exists. That's not an exaggeration. I'm not hyping that up for this video. I would not have gotten into YouTube if it was not for Technoblade. And dude, in the beginning, when I tell you I was a Technoblade clone, that is not an exaggeration. I was a shameless copy in the beginning. I think it's common to take inspiration from your favorite creators, but this was plagiarism. I just stole his personality. Like, there's jokes that I word for word just stole. I'm sorry. I like to think I've branched out like at least a little bit since then. Probably not. And it's weird because I never met him. Barely even spoke to him. We did like a few streams together. And yet he's had this profound impact on my life.
It's November 22nd, 2020. The time, 12:02 p.m. After weeks of pestering, and I mean non-stop, relentless pestering, I finally convinced my brother to play Minecraft with me. Now keep in mind, at this point, I have zero experience to my name. I don't even have my own Minecraft account. So what does he do? He hands me one of his alt accounts like some benevolent god, Unfortunately, that Minecraft account is now lost to time and space itself, thanks to the great Minecraft migration of 2021.
My name is Jake, or the Best Ginger 13, as some people know me on YouTube.
Hey guys, Huawei here. Back in 2013 to about 2017, I played way too much Minecraft Hunger Games and Minecraft UHC.
I was a part of the Hypixel community and the UHC community, which Techno was always like proximal to that.
I was kind of go-to guy back then to learn from. You know how everyone uses the fishing rod and everyone is trying to light you up on fire with the flint and steel or lava bucket in PvP? I'm the guy that you can blame for that. I am so sorry. I'm not saying I invented it. I just made it look cool.
Everybody in that little square of people, like everybody kind of watched their own videos, would comment little snarky things on each other's videos.
Little did I know that this fan of mine with a crown wearing a Minecraft pigskin, leaving funny comments on my videos, would eventually become the king of Minecraft YouTube.
It felt like a very small, tight-knit community. Techno had commented on a couple of my videos. I commented on his. It was like this kind of push and pull. It feels a little bit like dating in a way. Like, and then eventually I followed him on Twitter and he followed me back. And then I just messaged him, hey, like, would you want to record sometime? Because we both liked each other's videos. I think we liked each other's like style of humor. And he was like, yeah, let's do it. Sure. He was saying that he had been binging Game of Thrones at the time, so he wasn't able to do it until a different time.
You know, to me, he was the Hypixel king. You know, he started playing Blitz survival games after realizing that, you know, you can't really dominate the MCSG server because your goat is still around. I'm joking.
We would hop on random Skywars games, and for context, I was like kind of a Skywars noob. Like my main thing was UHC, and I was pretty good at UHC, so like he would school me in any sort of Hypixel game, like even the most random stuff, a weird like racing game or like a random superhero game that they had, not even the main games. He would just school me in it.
Me and Techno, we did our own thing. We had our own server that we consistently played on, and we were kind of like rivals.
We would talk a lot behind the camera as well, and he was, I want to say, almost exactly the same on camera as off. I mean, he was maybe a little more reserved and quiet. I never knew if he was being serious about anything. He would always have random quips about just random stuff we were talking about. Like for instance, he went on this super long tirade. There was this YouTuber in our community called Huawei. He would randomly just like disappear, and people would like say that he went to the sun. One day Techno was he just sent me this like, I don't know, it must have been 10 pages of messages of him just saying that he thought Huawei was a vampire and like referencing all these tweets like he was like writing an English essay about why Huawei was a vampire, like because he would always say he was bad at PvP when he had cold hands. There was so much, and it was so hilarious.
I don't think we've ever spoken before, but we both knew who we were. We both knew each other through content creation and growing up on this game called Minecraft.
At the time, I didn't even know how to respond because I was just laughing my ass off during the whole thing, and he somehow connected it to Harambe at the end of it. We would talk about anime, and I'm big into the Myers-Briggs personality test. He was an INTP, I'm an INTJ, so I like connected with him on that level.
My favorite video from Techno is probably Hypixel Olympics 3 because I was a fangirl for him, and I remember one time years ago he tweeted asking people to join Speed UHC for a video, and so I did.
Oh, it's her!
Oh no! Oh no! Hannah.
She's here to make sure the Zyper Techno collab finally happens.
The only way he knew me at that point was from the fan account I had, so that is why his reaction was what it was. I love looking back on that video. I remember when it came out, actually, my Wi-Fi was down and I had a limited cellular plan, so I used all my data to watch it because I knew that I was going to be in it because he had tweeted that, and I was so excited to watch it.
Our recordings together with me, Hannah, and Techno, like they were so fun. We had so much fun doing those, and I felt like me and Techno and Hannah always had like a level of on-camera chemistry.
Welcome, guys. We're playing Bed Wars. Ginger's here because he has subs. Hannah's here because she's a girl. Views away!
Really well worded.
Thanks. I strive for honesty in my commentary.
Should I actually cover the bed, or does that not matter?
That's like the only thing you're good for.
It's pretty rare to really be able to like push yourself to like have comedic moments like naturally like we just would. And you know, I think that's probably more about Techno than me. Like he's just a hilarious guy, and he works off of other people really well. It always made for great content and lots of fun. Like some of the most fun content I've ever made.
What's my favorite memory with Technoblade? Well, we've got to go back to 2017 when Bed Wars was all the rage, and I was obsessed with watching his live streams on YouTube. Now, I used to watch for his skills, but also his very dry sense of humor, which you don't really tend to get with Americans. I find it's more of a British thing. He used to go on about stabbing orphans and getting the coins, and that was all that mattered to him.
This is the second worst thing that has happened to these orphans in their lives.
Some of the Bed Wars challenges we did together was absolutely hilarious. We used to record for hours on camera and off camera, and he was always up for whatever crazy challenge I wanted to do.
We hop on Hypixel, play duels for an hour. It's not anything impeccably interesting. The combat is mundane. Punch, stab, repeat. There's only so much you can do when you fight like a baby just out of utero. But you know what? I remember that day. Sometimes when I think of my brother, that's the moment that comes to mind. Because it's the only time I really sat down and did something we both wanted to do. Well, I wanted to do it. He just wanted to win. But hey, at that point, I'd been begging him to play Minecraft for a millennium. The least I could do was indulge in his farming for wins.
The way I met and then later became friends with Techno is, I'd say, pretty different than most. I was just a fan of him, and I was watching him stream Bed Wars one day. And what he did in Bed Wars is he would queue into doubles, and then just carry a random teammate to win. He would go off and 2v1 people, get their bed, final kill them, and then eventually win the game, carrying a random teammate.
And the nice thing about it was like having like this giant big brother behind you, where you entered a game, there was sort of no doubts of losing. You was always going to win no matter what you were doing. There was just a great sense of comfort.
I was terrified for that live stream, dude. This was my idol. I was on a Sky Wars team with him all of a sudden. I was like, oh my god, oh, what do I say? Like, I can't, he's gonna find out that I'm just a copy of him. But he was actually really nice to me. That was kind of like a last minute fill for that stream, you know? I was the new kid on the block. They sent me an invite because someone else couldn't make it. And so everyone was kind of toying around with me. But Techno was just like, cool, dude. He tried to get under the surface a little, whereas everyone else on the stream didn't really bother to talk to me because they just had no clue who I was.
It was just always like fun to record with him. It was hard to like get him to record because he'd always just be like, I don't really feel like it right now. Like he very much knew himself and knew how he felt at a current time, and he was not like afraid of like upsetting people. Like he didn't care too much about what other people think, which I think was very admirable.
At the time, I was on Bed Wars leaderboards. So I'm like, what if I do a $2 donation? Hey, I'm on Bed Wars leaderboard, party me for free wins, and then I gave my name. To my surprise, he took me up on it. We played a game, and it went beautifully. I think it's one of the fastest games that I had played.
I remember Techno used to stream for like 8+ hours in Bed Wars daily at one point, and he'd be winning every single game.
We often used to chat in the Twitter DMs about why you're not asleep. It's literally like 4 a.m. your time. And he was like, yeah, I'm on a new sleep schedule now, one that aligns with my Bed Wars victories.
So I remember asking him, I'd just be like, how do you do that? How do you stream that many hours and still keep winning? That makes no sense.
He used to wait up to be in line with specific time zones that he could really bully the most inferior players on Bed Wars.
And he'd answer me and just be like, I don't know, man, it's easy. Like, what? What do you mean? It was insane.
And I think that just kind of sums up how hilarious he was and dedicated to the craft.
I've played Minecraft since then. I've played it a lot, but I've never hit that same high again. And yeah, we played together a few more times. Not for an hour though. Sometimes I'd log into Hypixel, even though the graphics are blinding and the chat bar is basically novella. Most of the time, I'd see him grinding Skyblock. I'd visit his islands and follow him around the world like a lost puppy. If I were lucky, and I mean really really lucky. We would play Murder Mystery for like 2 rounds.
I wrote down a little bit of notes here. I don't think I have a favorite video of Technoblade, like a one specific video. My favorite videos with an S, it would be like any video that he has made that reminds me of my childhood the most, which is just any Hypixel video, I think, when he was just doing like Skywars commentary videos. I loved watching those after school.
Welcome guys to an episode of Skywars. There's like a week left in the semester and I'm just gonna get owned for like this entire week.
I didn't realize that the reason he was queuing doubles was because he wanted to get as many final kills as possible. And if I'm there killing half of the other teams, that's less for him to get. And I'm like, all right, fair enough, a bit sad, but understandable. And I really thought nothing else of it. That is until a week later when Techno adds me out of nowhere and he's saying, let's run it back. Now I'm going through every emotion possible. I looked up to this guy, I'd seen all his videos, and here he is wanting me to carry him again. Now of course I'm gonna say yes, but I was trying to keep it cool and not come off as like an overexcited fanboy. And I think the one reply that I could muster up was fine by me, period. Just stone cold, fine by me. And that was it. But from there, it was business as usual.
I was trying to like prove that I could be good to his audience and to my audience, prove that I was good at Skywars. But like in the greatest way possible, he would just push me to be my authentic comedic self and not like try too hard. And that made for really amazing recordings. He's a good guy when it comes to just pushing you to not take things so seriously. Like for instance, we were playing Sky Clash and we were recording and I was like, I need to win this. I need to prove to everybody that I can be good at Minecraft and stuff in front of Techno's audience and stuff and in front of my own. And like he would be like team killing. I'd be going and I'd be like jump in and then he just block off right in front of me. And it made for hilarious recordings.
I think on paper Techno came across very arrogant, but it was excused because of who he was. His personality and his jokes just made it amazing. You didn't really feel angry that he was so good. You was rooting for him, especially when he was on your team.
The most important thing I learned from him was to have self-belief. He said he was going to beat Minecraft with a steering wheel, and he did it. He said he was going to get the 1,000 bedwars win streak, and he did it. He said he was going to hit 10 million subscribers, even when he had a fraction of the sub count at the time, and he did it. Being a Technoblade fan is just one of the best things ever.
You were involved in our community in so many ways that people don't even realize. The passion and energy that you brought was incredible. Your impact is still felt every single day. You truly cared about the people, and I want to thank you for letting us be part of your journey. We miss you, buddy. We will never let your memory fade.
Next up, we'll be hearing from George Not Found. George, I want to thank you for appearing in the Festival of Voices 2 years ago, helping us raise money for the One of Us Foundation and good causes that they're pursuing. You took time out of your day to do that, and I really appreciate that. You didn't get anything out of it. In fact, you came under a lot of fire, unnecessarily so I felt, for running a soundboard during the pregame lobby chatter. Like you had a buzzer or two. It was kind of just a fun thing, and a lot of people spun it as you were interrupting me during my speech, which you were not. The flack got kind of extreme, which I've always sort of regretted. I'm sorry that happened to you. Anyway, George is here today to tell us some memories of Technoblade. Take it away, George.
Thank you, Techno Dad, for that amazing introduction and reminding me of a very fond memory that I had. Speaking of fond memories, I actually remember the very first time that I met Technoblade, and it was in a Discord call with one of my friends. I actually don't know who that friend was. Maybe this says something about Technoblade, because I have no idea who it was, but I remember that Technoblade was there. So I'm sure he left a great impression on me. And I was getting tired. I was in the UK, so Techno was 8 hours behind me. It was probably super early in the morning for me. And I was getting tired and I wanted to leave. But then right at that moment, my friend decided to leave. And I was like, oh my god, now I can't leave because I don't want Techno thinking I hate him. I can't leave right now, even though I was just so tired and I wanted to go. But anyway, I stayed, and Techno decided that we should play some Skywars duos. Now, I've never really played it and I suck, so I was a little worried going into it. I was like, oh, I'm going to embarrass myself in front of him. I'm going to suck. And that is exactly what happened. We proceeded to play a few games, and I died pretty much within the first 10 seconds every single time. And
I'm sorry, George, to interrupt, but the sellout bell timer went off. I had to ring the bell. Everybody subscribe to Technoblade. Woo!
Okay, I think you're...
Technoblade, yeah, woo!
Okay, I think he's pushing it a little bit, but as I was saying, he carried me through all these Skywars games. Every time I would die within the first 20 seconds and think, how is he going to do this? There's no way he's going to win. And then every time he would do something crazy and just manage to clutch it with the craziest situations. And I would just be like, how is he doing it? It was like actually comical. I didn't even know how it was possible. But eventually I decided it was too awkward to keep making him play solos in duos, and we ended up just playing the parkour in the lobby. And even there, he would show me all the different shortcuts and how to improve our time, and we were just basically trying to get the best time possible. We wanted to beat the record, and we grinded that for a few hours whilst just talking about life, YouTube, everything really. I don't remember the exact details of the conversation, but I remember it was super chill, fun talking to him whilst trying to grind away at our parkour and just beat the world record.
Sellout Bell, subscribe to Technoblade. Everybody subscribe to Technoblade.
All right, then. I don't even know which part was I at. I don't even know what part of the story I was at. I don't know. Minecraft? I don't even remember anymore. You've just ruined my story.
You were talking about Minecraft.
I don't remember it anymore. Subscribe to Technoblade.
Hey, I just wanted to take a second and address kind of the elephant in the room. We all know I'm not the person you really want to see. The person you really want to see is Technoblade. And we all wish that Technoblade was the guy making videos on this channel. Nobody wishes that more than I do. I understand, I get it. Unfortunately, we don't have that option. Instead, we got to make do with what is available, which is me. It's kind of like that show, Star Trek Voyager. Did you guys see that? You know, in the first episode, the ship's doctor is killed, and so for the rest of the series, they have to make do with the emergency medical hologram. It's not a real doctor, but it's, you know, what's available. That's me. I am the emergency Technoblade hologram. It's not a real Technoblade, but it's what's available. So the next time you're feeling like you really need some Technoblade, just walk down to sickbay and ask for the emergency Technoblade hologram. And I will appear, and I'll say, please state the nature of the Technoblade emergency. Hey, ETH, thanks for showing up. I was wondering, could you explain to the folks at home the significance of the various mythological Greek names that appear in this video? Certainly. I assume you're aware that gaming creators typically operate under a pseudonym. For example, Alex went by Technoblade. Following this, Mr. Technodad uses names from Greek mythology when he wants to talk about his family members. Other than Mr. Technodad and Technoblade's mom, they are Artemis and Apollo, twins in Greek mythology, twin siblings of Technoblade. Demeter is Technoblade's stepmom, that is to say, Mr. Technodad's wife. He's a lucky man. Persephone is Demeter's daughter, Technoblade's stepsister. Athena is Technoblade's cousin. I believe that's all the names that appear in this video. I can't be certain because you're still working on it at this late date, despite the fact that that is medically contraindicated. The Dark Side of Technoblade, Part 2. I had to beg him to eat his vegetables. He ate a lot of steak and potatoes and candy. Where is candy on the food pyramid? Nowhere, that's where. He loved pot pies, but he'd never eat the peas. You'd be left with a plate full of only peas. Then came war, not of swords, knights, or kingdoms, but of potatoes. What started as numbers on a leaderboard slowly became a saga of spreadsheets and sleepless nights. And don't forget the memes. Alex's innovation and grit managed to overthrow the agricultural establishment of an entire server. Sorry, Squid Kid, you know, dance, potato boy, that kind of stuff. I remember during that time, we just didn't really see him. He didn't come out of his room. It's like sometimes you'd hear screaming behind the door, but we didn't see him.
The Minecraft server Technoblade used to play on was called Hypixel, and amongst the community, there was no one anything like him. Everyone was inspired by Technoblade. We all looked up to him.
A funny memory I always think of is going into a Hypixel lobby and always seeing Techno online with, I think he had one of the Hypixel pets renamed Subscribe, and he would always AFK in these lobbies. And I remember all of the fans would be taking screenshots in the lobby. I was taking screenshots in the lobby whenever I saw him. And I don't know, I think he was always really good. And I thought that was really cool at the time. and I still do.
I was never a big Skyblock guy, but let me tell ya, if you were getting me to watch a Skyblock video, oh my god, it is only Technoblade.
My favorite Technoblade video ever made. I think it's indisputably the best one ever, entirely because of the joke at the start of the video. I am talking about the Hypixel Skyblock experience. That video is freaking cinema. From the start, you have the cinematic opening, just talking about classic Skyblock, how every resource is precious.
I think Skyblock at its core is the ultimate challenge in resource management.
And then it hard cuts to on Hypixel Skyblock, going into the hub, and he says the joke, and you log into Windcraft.
You spawn on your own island, you cut down a tree, you bridge over to the other island, and then you log into Windcraft.
It made me laugh so incredibly much. I think if you haven't watched it and you want to watch a Technoblade video, watch the Hypixel Skyblock experience. Or if you've seen it, and you should just watch it again. I actually watched it again before recording this video. That's how much I love that video.
Techno and his content was the reason why I switched from being just a mindless PvP YouTuber to making Hypixel Skyblock videos. I was watching a bunch of his and I was like, dude, this looks so fun and I want to like actually storytell in my content. So he is a huge reason why I started making my videos better and was just the biggest inspiration ever.
One of my other favorite memories to look back at is in Skyblock when Techno and I were going to build an infinite sugarcane farm. What this means is that we could sit on our island, hold left click, and we will just be able to farm sugarcane with no other input forever. Now the way that we were going to accomplish this is using minecarts. I'm going to go plant all the sugarcane, figure out the path, and Techno is going to work on the minecart track. But this is how Technoblade thinks minecart tracks are built. And this isn't even like a one-off kind of thing. He asked me why it's not working, and I just had to sit there and think that this is the same guy who would later go on to win 3 Minecraft Mondays, beat Dream in a $100,000 duel, and is widely known as the best Minecraft player to ever live. And here he is asking me why his minecart tracks aren't working.
Hi, I'm Rambu, or Rambo, as was said a lot on this channel, and I just wanted to say congratulations, Techno, for 20 mil. Techno was one of my biggest inspirations for the longest time for me to even start, doing a channel. Without him, my YouTube channel probably would never have even existed. One of my first videos to ever go, viral, I guess, was me literally just calling myself a Walmart Technoblade and then adding a crown to my Minecraft skin. That was a huge reason why I'm able to do what I do today.
My favorite video from Technoblade is obviously the Great Potato War.
I love the Potato War saga.
It has to be the Great Potato War. My personal favorite content that he ever made was the Potato Saga.
Obviously, the Potato War stuff.
My favorite thing that you ever did was the Potato War series.
I think my favorite series of videos has to be the Potato War.
The Potato War videos are the best Minecraft videos of all time.
Easily the Potato War saga.
Not to be basic, but it's got to be the Potato War.
Technoblade, where have you been all this time? Well, you see, I've been farming potatoes in Skyblock.
It's just something that I think back on and it gives me chills because something as simple as putting down potato minions in Skyblock ended up completely changing my life. And if I had chosen any other minion than potato minions, none of it would have ever happened. It's just crazy to think about.
I was subscribed to Squid Kid, the villain of the story, since he was at 3 subscribers. Me and my friend found it and we're like, this guy's so funny. And then he appears like a week later as the villain of Technoblade's videos.
I still remember when I first saw Techno on my island, he was in my AFK pool, so I rushed over to take a screenshot. No one's gonna believe me if I just go around saying, yeah, Technoblade was on my island. Like, no.
I was never really a Hypixel guy, so I didn't really care that much for Skyblock, but it didn't matter. Like, there's something so compelling about having such a random and niche goal and giving so much towards it, despite how arguably pointless it is.
Eventually, he came back from being AFK, and he let me know that he had taken rank 1 potato collection from me.
Your potato rank 1 spot is now mine.
Genuinely shocking. I could not believe it at all. And at first I was genuinely convinced that the admins had boosted his potato collection for him because it was just so unbelievable to me. Like, I genuinely could not believe it, like, at all. It wasn't until I got to watch the Great Potato War video when he uploaded it where I kind of started to realize and understand, like, what kind of stunt he pulled on me.
by like the first episode, by the end of it, you're so invested yourself in this completely nonsense goal.
I watched him not sleep, grind day in, day out. He was so committed.
Seeing the behind the scenes of Techno's entire operation, y'all have no idea how dedicated this guy was to farming potatoes. It's pretty scary.
And he said this to me, and I remember even at the time being very young thinking, this can't be right. Like, you are a too dedicated man. What he said was, I've narrowed down Squid Kid to 3 different colleges. I was like, Techno, that's not good, man.
And every time we asked him, oh, have you got any, like, what's happening? What's the plan? What's this? He would always like keep a lot of it to his chest, but every now and again give us like a little bit of information, which I think made it more exciting to see when the videos came out, because he was like locked in. Oh my god, we would just ask him like, hey, do you want to hang out and play TF2? And he'd be like, no, farming potatoes. So we would just sit in a call with him whilst he farmed potatoes.
I think still to this day that's some of the most creative content on the entire platform.
Farming potatoes on a Minecraft server. If you were to write down the premise on paper and showed it to any other Minecraft YouTuber at the time, they would have laughed at it.
He took something as simple as farming potatoes on a Minecraft server and made it so funny and interesting.
Just how wild that is, that he can take something as simple as farming potatoes and turning it into this hilarious comedic saga.
The only time I've ever had a shred of interest in Skyblock is when Technoblade played, because you know what? He's a damn good storyteller.
It's good storytelling, and with Techno's personality, it's just like absolutely insane.
It's incredible. It's just a masterclass in how to hook people into a narrative, and it's so compelling to watch.
They would have been like, there's no way you can make a video about farming potatoes entertaining. But Techno's dedication to the bit absolutely sold it in a way I don't think any other creator would have been able to do.
The thing that impresses me most about Technoblade was his willingness to commit to a project. It's very easy to look at any given 1,000-hour project on YouTube and see it cut down into 30 minutes or something and not really grasp just how long it took to do that project. I could name off a bunch of examples here. There was the entire potato war.
He just said, I'm going to get to the top of the leaderboards in potato farming no matter what. And he just did it. He literally just said, I don't even care. I'm gonna do it. And I just found that very admirable in like a crazy way.
I remember being really shocked he was actually spending like 12 hours a day farming potatoes.
The amount of hours that he was willing to put into any given project just blows my mind. And I think it's safe to say that Technoblade would have spent way more than 1,000 hours on his efforts in the Great Potato War, because he talks about spending 12-hour days for weeks on end doing what he needed to do in order to win the Great Potato War.
He was able to siphon creativity out of the most mundane concepts. In my opinion, that is a generational talent.
It was amazing to watch something as simple and mundane as farming potatoes be turned into this fierce rivalry between 2 insane people with way too much time on their hands.
And I think that really highlighted an aspect of Techno, how he was able to take something as silly as farming potatoes and turn it into an amazing and just hilarious story.
I like that series the most because even though we weren't necessarily in the trenches fighting the good fight with him for the potato war, we were absolutely on his side and rooting for him.
It showed how talented he was at content creation and how in tune he was with this business.
I think it really speaks volume about how creative he was.
Just the sheer dedication he has to beat Squid Kid at having the most potatoes on Hypixel Skyblock, and the humorous way he tells the story that always keeps me watching until the very end.
That moment where he gets the victory is just icing on the cake. That is my favorite.
I just loved him for it, man. It was so cool. Congrats on 20 million subscribers, Technoblade.
We win these!
The Dark Side of Technoblade, Part 3. I got some new silverware and he hated the tablespoons. Why? I love these tablespoons. As Alex's audience grew, so did the stages he played on. Mondays were mayhem in the Techno family, but it was all worth it. Alex would dominate the competition, gracefully, hilariously, and unforgettably.
The Minecraft Monday stream that we did together, we just clicked like immediately. I still think about it to this day, and I still watch it every now and again. That was the first time we'd properly spoken, and you can see we're kind of like sort of feeling out what's okay, what's not okay, like how much can we joke, and it was just so natural. After like maybe 5 minutes, we just clicked, and I remember that being like the most fun I've had probably to this date in like a Minecraft tournament type situation, you know? There's so many things. Yeah, like I said, thankfully a lot of them are recorded and I can just go watch them and kind of relive them again.
Oh, what's my favorite memory with Technoblade? You know, we had so many good ones, but I'd probably say those early ones playing MCC together with the full Sleepy Boys. When he started calling, he finally like acknowledged I was good at Minecraft as well. What did he call it? The dynamic duo. He started like shouting that at me, and I was like, oh my god, like the legend actually likes me. Oh, also just off camera, just a lot of the gaming we did together was really fun. You get to know like him. Oh man, yeah, those first streams was so sick. Yeah, I loved it. Loved it so much.
This was back in the day, 2019. You know, we were both on the come up, so to speak, and we were both doing this tournament every Monday.
I'm gonna pause for a second. I'm gonna go to sleep. I'm gonna leave this stream on until, I don't know, I'll probably set a timer for 20 minutes just to have a nap, and I'll be back up. I'll be back.
They called Minecraft
Enjoy.
Mondays. I had no idea to play the game. I really didn't. I still don't. And the day I found out that me and Alex were going to be teammates for it, I made it very, very clear to him what my situation was. And he says to me, I need to train you. And so the day of the event, he makes me leave work early. My 9-to-5 job in New York City, I leave, I take off after lunch, and I go back home, and I just sit with him in Hypixel, and he trains me on how to play the game. I had no idea that, like, you know, you had to jump and then swing the sword. Dude may as well have taught me what the sprint button did. That's how, that's how bad I was at the game. And when it came time for the tournament a couple hours later, I still sucked. But we won. The entire thing. We won the entire thing. A Hunger Games event, a Spleef event. It's like a tournament full of the most classic Minecraft games with some of the most legendary Minecraft YouTubers out there. Captain Sparkles, Ant Venom, Bajan Canadian. We're all fighting against us, and he carried us to win the entire thing. And at this point, Alex has already had, you know, a couple of victories under his belt, so I'm sure it was nothing new to him. But to me, it was like, this was just an unreal moment in my life. It was the most viewers I've ever had. It was the most money I've ever won in a single day. $5 grand after winning a Minecraft tournament was insane to me. And even now, I still think back to that day as, you know, probably the most exciting day of my entire career. All because of him.
Then my first ever like actual interaction with Techno was during Minecraft Monday. I actually DM'd him on Telegram and was like, hey, we should team up. Like, you can get me in. I'm better like than people think. You know, I haven't uploaded much. Nobody really knows how good I am. So I'm like a Trojan horse. Like, you can Trojan horse me in and then we can win and it'll be awesome. To which he just was like, nah, you know, nah. I was like, all right, okay, all right. But then I got in anyway. I was convinced I was going to beat Technoblade. I was going to show him up. I was going to be the best Minecraft player in the event. And it didn't happen. Techno won the event, and I did not do very well. And that kind of started the Technoblade Dream rivalry. It was just in my head at the time. It was not something that like Technoblade thought of. It was something that I thought of. I was like, yes, Dream versus Technoblade. I will beat him one day. It will happen.
I think my favorite memory with him was definitely when we got invited to Minecraft Mondays and we were surrounded by YouTube celebrities that we wanted to both kill. And finally our moment came when we managed to track down PewDiePie and we stabbed him. Of course, winning Minecraft Mondays was a great thing together, but I think that was just the cherry on top.
I want to share a funny story on how I met Technoblade to begin with. There was this Minecraft Hunger Games event called Minecraft Mondays. It was an event where you would play with a duo. I was teamed up with another person called Junkie Janker. He was another creator who I was duos with. And at that point, I had heard of Technoblade, but I wasn't exactly sure who he was exactly. As soon as we start this event, the one thing my duo told me before starting the event, He says, watch out for Technoblade and shotgun raids. I was like, why do I need to watch out for Technoblade? It's just whatever you do, if you see him, run. You do not want to mess with Technoblade. Sure enough, I was weary about this warning, but I didn't take it that seriously. And as soon as a Minecraft Mondays started, I would just see constantly in the chat, Technoblade has killed this creator. Technoblade has killed that creator. That was my introduction to Technoblade. And I was incredibly scared of him from that moment on. I knew this guy was someone not to mess with, clearly a master at Minecraft. So further on, when I met him through other contents, I would speak to Technoblade in a way where I would always be scared of him. I would talk to him under the premise of that trauma that I lived in Minecraft Mondays, which, by the way, Technoblade won so many Minecraft Mondays. This guy was insane. But also, he was teaming up with people like Shotgun Raids, which, I mean, just too OP.
As is the case for many people, I assume, my intro to techno was during the Minecraft Monday tournaments many years ago, and I think it was the first tournament before we'd even played, going through the tab list and seeing what the different teams were, and thinking, okay, a lot of these people, they're not Minecraft streamers or YouTubers, they probably don't have that many hours. I've played the game a lot. It's like the meme with the people dancing at the party, and there's the guy sitting over in the corner to himself. I'm the guy in the corner. They don't know I used to be a Hunger Games champion, or at least runner-up to Ant Venom in the first one. Anyway, there are a couple people in chat, and I think they were saying, hey, the team with Technoblade on it, it's pretty good. You should definitely be on the lookout for that one if you run into them. And I'm like, how good could they possibly be? Well, pretty clear answer to that one. And I think as the weeks went by, really must have started to weigh on me because, you know, there have been a lot of good PV people over the years, but I don't think any other ones, even if there have been similar track records in our encounters, have ever instilled such fear in me as when I would run into Technoblade. I guess I must have like really exhibited this outwardly because I remember seeing a clip that was sent to me of Techno talking in a stream or a video, and he's going, when I'm editing together the videos of these tournaments, I can't use any of the clips from Captain Sparkle's POV because every time I run into him, he just gets depressed. He's like, it's an immediate downer, and I can't put it in the video because he's like, oh, it's over. Guys, we're done, ruined, destroyed, GG's, fun playing with the rest of you. I remember I saw this clip and I actually tried in the future to not be as downtrodden when running into whether it was him or anyone else from like we're clearly outmatched. So hey, you know what? If this clip makes it into the video, maybe it'll be the first time I have not been too downtrodden.
I think my favorite memory of Technoblade was when I was watching him in high school. I would sometimes go back home and realize there was a new Minecraft Monday highlight video, and I would sit down and just eat my lunch while watching that. Good memories. I would always look forward to a new upload even back then. It was like, oh god, 8-9 years ago. Shit, I'm old.
I have a memory from back in 2019 when Technoblade played in a Minecraft tournament called Minecraft Monday. I remember feeling so excited that Technoblade was going to be playing Minecraft with some of the biggest creators like PewDiePie and Ninja. I knew that Technoblade was going to wipe the floor with them. I think what made it so special is it felt like the whole Hypixel community and all of Techno's audience were just rooting for him. When the first Minecraft Monday happened, I was on a camp and I had absolutely no internet. But I remember calling up Tom and just asking him to tell me every single detail. But just hearing about how Technoblade dominated the tournament just brought me so much joy. To see him, in a way, represent the Hypixel community that me and my friends were all involved in, it was special. It was like following a sports team and then winning the cup final. Everyone was so behind him and together, and it was just special. I don't know how to describe it.
My favourite memory with Technoblade, there's many memories to pick from. He left such an impact, especially in the MCC community, and gave us, as the team running it, a lot to do, but for all the good reasons. And I will always remember his attack on Buildmart, because the early games of Buildmart, Alex kind of realised it was something I don't think building was his strong suit, and rather than try and learn to build or figure out out like that's okay to be a game that he wasn't going to be the number one at. He decided to like work out the fastest way to do. I still to this day don't even know exactly how he figured it out and what he'd worked out, but he worked out all the potential builds out of every build that's ever been done. He'd worked it out and counted out every single block that was needed and like gave his team stats beforehand of where they were to go and get it. And he managed to metagame the entire game of Build Mart and get set, like I'm pretty sure one of the highest scores we've had, and also changed the way we had to like make Build Mart. We had to like actively go in and make changes to this because he'd fundamentally broken the game in a way we just hadn't assumed anyone would go out of their way to do. And it will always be such a funny moment because for me, Techno has so many of the amazing like PvP moments and fight scenes and just the bits that I think show off his PvP prowess, but that's always such a funny memory to me because it shows off his more mischievous side and the way his brain worked with that stuff. And I think it also really left an impact. I don't think we've really had anyone else like break a game so fundamentally that we had to like change how we structured and spawned the builds in just so that way couldn't be done. We had to basically make multiple versions of every build that it could randomly pick from so that there was no way to guarantee what the build was going to be. And I always just think that him having that mark in a game that he hated so much is always such a like funny moment for me, and I'm glad that we were able to include the tribute to him in MCC, and it's something that I think is important for his viewers and for the MCC community as a whole, because without Techno I don't think MCC would be anywhere near where it is, and I think he just was so passionate about the event and it meant so much to us that he enjoyed what we did as well much as he did, and we were just very grateful that he chose to support us and take part.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. My name is HBomb94, and you actually may know me more specifically as the guy that mentally scarred Technoblade in MCC 7 and almost getting blocked by him in MCC 8.
I swear to God, if HBomb does this to me twice.
Don't let him clutch. Don't let him clutch.
A funny memory I have with Technoblade is during a charity event, which he ended up making a video out of actually. It was where the more money you raise with your community, the more items you get in game, and him and his community raised a ton of money, so obviously he's really stacked and he's good at PvP. I was just hoping like, oh my god, if Technoblade kills me, I'm never gonna hear the end of it. Please, like, anyone kill me but him, please. At this point, like, I don't want more of this. I already hear about me losing the potato war, like, basically every day. So, honestly, when someone did kill me, it wasn't Technoblade, and I was just relieved. I was just relieved he wasn't getting another point up on me.
I kind of gave up on beating Technoblade. I had my chance, it didn't work. I had already I tried Minecraft Monday, it didn't work. I tried, in other scenarios, it didn't work. We did, even like Minecraft Championships started happening, and I mean, I did better than him sometimes on the leaderboard, but like it was never like I was really truly like beating him,
Start by, why don't I ask you guys how you first met Technoblade?
For Calvin and I think we have the same answer. It was from my first event that kind of kicked off my event hosting career, being Winner Takes All 1.
Yeah.
Back in January of 2019. It was a bunch of us. It was like 15 of us total on a Minecraft server. And it was so simple. Minecraft events were so simple back then. The whole point was just stay on the server, stay online, stay awake. And it was a little unsafe because we just had like teenage Minecraft creators staying up for over 48 hours, but...
Buddy, I was hallucinating by the end. It was...
but by the like 30-hour mark, Techno was just so invested, just camping in Calvin's stream chat for like a day and a half straight. Because he was just so interested. It had nothing to do with like wanting to join or specifically like make any connections or anything. He just was so interested in delirious Calvin camera swapping on his Winner Takes All stream as he slowly fell to the brink, and we're just hanging out and he's just typing in chat and we're neglecting his 1,000 other viewers to just have a one-on-one conversation with Technoblade on stream. And then at the end, when the event ended, he was spamming the chat and making his viewers also spam the chat and join him, saying, "Add me to the call! Bring me to the Discord call!" We brought him into the call, We hung out for like 15 more minutes after that, and then you went to bed.
I ate a cheeseburger and went to sleep. I remember him in my chat all the time, basically egging me on. He kept saying if I left, he was gonna be mad, and I can't make Techno mad at that point. That wasn't it.
A long time ago, I first made Twitter. It was like 2014 or 2015, and I remember seeing Technoblade on Twitter, barely following anyone. I was barely following anyone, but he was a Minecraft PvP YouTuber. I did UHC, he did survival games on Hypixel. We kind of just started talking to each other. We're like, let's collaborate one day, and we would always move the date. Either he was busy, I was busy, something was going on, and then finally we did a video together years later, right on this battlefield.
So MCU stands for Minecraft Ultimate, which in itself stands for Minecraft Ultimate Hunger Games. The idea was to take the original Minecraft Hunger Games from back in 2012 with 24 players and see what happens when we make the map 10 times bigger and the roster even more than 10 times bigger. It was kind of my dream project for a really long time. At the time, the world record Minecraft event in terms of how many people were playing and streaming it was like 60, and I wanted to crank it up all the way to 300. The first one was just simple duos. The second one was we had everyone pair up into duos, everyone had a friend and a partner they were playing with, and then I manually nudged the duos together to make squads of 4, right? But Calvin and Nestor's duo that I paired them with was 2 FaZe members, and they dropped out like super last minute. And all of a sudden, I get a message from Nestor who's just like, hear me out. I want you to hear me out, okay? Before you instantly say no. What if Techno was 2 people and played instead of FaZe? And I had the exact same response Techno did. I remember when the video dropped, I was laughing bad because he said exactly what my reaction was, which was, that's hilarious, let's do it.
I think there was no way he was going to join it if it was another person too. I think he would have joined only if it was just him.
It's just so funny. So it's just an absolute mess of 300 people over the course of like almost 3 hours, if not more, of just raw Minecraft Hunger Games. It's by far the biggest roster that any Battle Royale Minecraft event has ever had before, which is what gave way to so much potential for the absolute carnage that took place of the team of Techno, Calvin, and Nestor to get like, what was it, like 140 combined kills or something, which blows the previous record out of the water of like
I don't remember. I gotta
30.
look it up now. This guy, the Technoplane meme, he put everybody on his back and then used the elytra to fly us around and we could just drop on people.
Hey everyone, Mr. Technodad again. I just wanted to talk about something that I was hearing a little bit about. I heard that on Twitter, it's not really a place I go because I'm all about, positivity, but I heard that after the live stream that we did a few days ago, there was some grumbling about Mr. Technodad is a sellout. Like I'm interested in money at all, which is, if you knew me, is a laugh. I don't care about money. I care about what's in our hearts, I care about supporting the community. I care about the fans individually. I care about cancer research and wellness for everyone. And I think it's laughable. My phone is, hang on. Why is, oh, it's the sellout timer. The sellout timer. One of us. Subscribe to Technoblade and buy the merch. Buy the merch. We have 20 million t-shirts. We don't have 20 million of them. We have, they're commemorating 20 million subscribers. 20 million t-shirts would be too many. We've got the Golden King. We've got the Aggro King. I should have lit them better. We've got the Ghost King. I don't have it right here, but it's there in stock. You can buy it and get it. We've got hoodies and fancy 20 million coin coming out and card decks and pins. And did I say hoodies? Everything. It's so exciting. Buy the merchandise. Buy the merchandise. Not if you're a starving student, though, or if you can't afford rent. Do not buy the merchandise. But everybody else, buy the merch until your wallets bleed, which might happen just from the shipping. We don't make any money on shipping. That's all going to the shipping companies. I hate it. But You gotta buy it. I'm telling you, my kids are going to college and Alex is gonna pay for it. Okay, so anyway, like I was saying, my real values are love. So just remember that next time you're thinking about, being critical of me. Thank you very much. The Dark Side of Technoblade, Part 4. He would bring his dishes to the sink, but would he put them in the dishwasher? No. Duels weren't just content for Alex. They were art. They were a mindset. He didn't trash talk. He gave dissertations mid-fight. Some call him the blood god, but he was also a scholar of combat.
I don't know if I've ever had more fun PvPing in the game of Minecraft as the 100k Mr. Beast training arc.
Last Thursday, I did a 1v1 with Dream for $100,000.
I'm pretty sure initially he DM'd me and wanted to practice. And was I the best 1.9 PvPer he could have asked? No. The answer is no. But he asked me to train him, and it made me really happy, and I said yes. And then we proceeded to call for like 3 hours, and we just dueled each other in sword over and over and over and over.
Before I go in for the kill on 1.9, I want the enemy to make at least 2 mistakes, and here you see Dream's second mistake is letting me get a bunch of these axe crits for free. Of course, his first mistake was challenging me in the first place.
I was helping Technoblade out to practice in the 100k Mr. Beast duel. Mr. Beast let him and Dream practice on the maps before the actual fight. It was on this one map that had this 3x3 or 4x4 pillar or something, and I remember he was using the pillar to defend himself, and then he was just oh, this actually reminds me of ancient Chinese technique that an emperor used.
In 227 BCE, King Zhang once escaped from his assassin by circling behind a pillar. I replicate this mid-fight and heal to full health.
I was just what? But then I was oh wait, it's Techno. Right, it's Technoblade. I just find it very interesting how Technoblade is literally the same exact person behind the scenes as he is in the videos, you know what I mean, and just in live streams and anything. He stands to be one of the most unique individuals I've ever met, and that is only coming through as an online virtual friend.
Anytime I ever talked to Technoblade, it was a blast. It was an absolute time, and I literally would not trade it for anything.
Oh, I did it. I did it. I did it. Oh my god.
Techno, congratulations.
I'm genuinely.
You just won $100,000.
I genuinely cannot process this.
The Dark Side of Technoblade, Part 5. He would do his laundry but never put it away. Dirty clothes covered the floor and clean clothes stayed in the laundry basket. Over time, he'd end up hogging all the laundry baskets, and the rest of us never had enough of them. Unparalleled growth. Unlimited expansion. All companies want it, but how many actually have it? We do. We're changing people's lives.
It changed my life in so many ways. Everything is different now.
My old life, gone.
Brought to you by Cancer. Cancer. Think outside the cell.
Thank you, Cancer.
Thank you, Cancer. Thanks, Cancer.
Brought to you by Cancer, without which today's broadcast would not be possible. Cancer. Think outside the cell. Then the world expanded. SMP Earth brought territory, tactics, and of course, the Antarctic Empire. Because sometimes the best way to conquer is to start with the coldest, windiest, and most remote continent. The Antarctic Empire was something that Alex would regale me with stories about as it was happening. He was very enthusiastic about that.
This is one of my favorite moments that I ever had with Technoblade personally, and it would have occurred right around the beginning of the SMP Earth server.
It was me, him, and Philza, and we were on SMP Earth.
Hi, my name is Alistair, or Eret online. SMP Earth, I joined in November 2019, which is around the same time I started streaming. I would stream super late nights, chill streams. Usually, it would only be me, and quite often, that only other person would be Techno, and he would would be often just grinding to be the most overpowered person he could be, as was his character in the Antarctic Empire. And because it was often just me and him on the server, he invited me over to Antarctica a couple of times, gave me updates on what he was doing and showing the builds, and we would talk in game chat.
We had just done this like kind of lore-esque stream, and we were kind of just chilling. I was still live. I was just kind of doing my thing, and he decided to stay and hang out with me and Phil, and he was making me laugh. When I tell you I laughed harder than I have ever laughed in my entire life, I mean that sincerely. I don't think I've ever laughed as hard as I have when I've talked to Technoblade.
I was pursuing let's just say, a partnership or an alliance with the Antarctic Empire. I don't remember exactly how this played out, but I know that somewhere along the way, instead of asking Technoblade for an alliance, I wound up in an IRL bidding war with SV Yoshi for the alliance spot. We were bidding actual money in order to get this alliance. Because the SMP Earth server had a map where any viewer could just see where everyone was on the map, they would have seen that I was flying near Technoblade's location. Anyone who would have had the map open on like a second monitor would have seen that I was quick on the approach, and not knowing what motivation or intentions I had, they were like, wait a minute, what's he doing? He's flying to Technoblade. We better go check this out. Right around the time my viewership started to go up as a result of this is when the bidding war itself was going on. So here's something that I did. When you subscribe to someone on Twitch, you can do a thing called a Prime subscription where you can subscribe to someone without actually having to pay to subscribe. So what I decided to do is I decided to pool together Technoblade viewers' money in order to fundraise for the alliance spot. I wound up raising like just north of $100 or something, and I wound up winning the bid for my faction to become allied with the Antarctic Empire. So I, for life, am allied with the Antarctic Empire.
On SMP Earth, they had this feature where you could claim land by just selecting along the border. And Techno worked out early on in the server that there was not a limit. As long as you made a circle big enough, you could technically claim everything. And he flew a plane around the entire map and claimed the entire world. And that broke a lot of things.
T-minus 20 seconds before world domination is complete. I'm refreshing.
Ladies and gentlemen, get on your feet. Antarctic world domination.
Antarctic Empire owns the world.
It was sometime shortly thereafter, Technoblade wound up finding himself trying to log on to the SMP Earth server, and he had an otherworldly bad connection to the server. I mean, he was lucky if he could walk 10 feet without disconnecting on the server. I wound up being on the server at the time, and not having anything better to do, I decided to fly back to Africa, pick up our boy Technoblade, and fly him home. And that was an adventure all by itself because he kept disconnecting. Because we were flying in planes, we had to fly really close down to terrain so that if he were to fall, he wouldn't fall to his death. It was a really fun time. And those are some of my favorite moments that I ever had with Technoblade.
I didn't watch a whole lot of Minecraft content at that point, so I mean, I knew who Techno was, but I was never a Techno fan, but I wasn't watching his content, but I had appreciation for who he was and what he did and how he acted with me, despite, you know, being a big YouTube person, because a lot of these big YouTube people you meet, they are not the people who they put themselves out in their video, but Techno always was, and always, you know, behind the scenes, even a nicer guy than the edgy's not the right word, but the headstrong character he put on streams. A lot of the content on YouTube, I feel, was very much, hey guys, blah 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 blah, like very high energy, and I appreciated that Techno delivered a very dry humor similar to my own that I thoroughly enjoyed. I do believe Techno had made me feel more confident in not having to overdo my personality or try to pretend to be something I'm not when it came to making content. I'd always just enjoyed making content because I got to share who I was with people I enjoyed showing, and Techno seemed to like doing the same and be himself the whole time while doing it.
Hey guys, this is Sneak Snag. First of all, huge congrats. Such an accomplishment. While I won't pretend that I was like extremely good friends with him. I had some really special moments with him, and I cherish them even now. Just the times on SMP Earth with Phil, especially, just being delirious late at night, and then I have a clip of him just like falling straight into the ocean, getting into a plane in the game. And it immediately, like, the most comedic timing ever, like, as he gets in the plane, as he's supposed to, like, clearly go in the air, just, like, dips like an anvil. Just magical stuff.
He was the funniest person I think I've ever met. Like, his comedic timing was impeccable. He was just so fast, so quick-witted, and it was just an absolute joy to hang out with him in those moments.
Another thing from SMP Earth is there was a scavenger hunt right at the end of SMP Earth that was supposed to go on the world download of SMP Earth, but I believe that this world download was made before he finalized the hunt, so no one ever got to see what was actually at the end of that scavenger hunt. But as I was on the server and I knew he'd done it, I went and checked before the server shut down and took a screenshot of what was there, and there was a small chest at his turtle farm in South Africa, and I think inside there was a book, and inside that book said something along the lines of, "You just wasted your time, there's no secret here."
The Dark Side of Technoblade, Part 6. He drank a lot of ice water, but he'd never use a coaster. This ruined the finish on the desk I bought him that I spent over $50 on.
Welcome guys to an episode of Sky Wars. I promised myself this wouldn't happen, but it only took a couple of days for this dog to become like the entire basis of my emotional stability. Like, I told myself that I was gonna remain like super like calm and collected. Like, I was just like pushing back my hair like I am so masculine and indifferent about this small animal, and then like walks over and licks my foot and my brain just goes, "Oh my god, this is the greatest moment of my life!" So yeah, it didn't work out. I mean, how am I supposed to not love this small animal? It licked my foot, okay? Okay, I've become what I feared most, okay? I've become that guy who hates people but likes animals. I promised myself I wouldn't become this, but it happened. I'm sorry, guys. But small animal. I mean, have you met people, in my defense? Like, it's just clearly small animals are just superior to people in every way. I was home alone with the dog all day, and we're gonna call the dog Floof, because that's what everyone seems to call him, and there doesn't seem to be any rush to give him like an actual name. It's not the manliest name, but it's not the manliest dog either. And I'm like, well, clearly if I have to get like, you know, any important things done today, like homework, I have to distract this dog, and the best way to distract him is to tire him out. Now, the thing about Floof is that he is a 4-month-old puppy, so obviously I can tire him out. I mean, come on, how athletic could a 4-month-old puppy be? We're running in circles, I'm running around the house, it's just like, you know, matching me step for step. As it turns out, this 4-month-old puppy is more athletic than Technoblade. I don't know how this happened. I'm not even like that out of shape, okay? This is one athletic puppy, okay? Don't judge me. Leave me alone. But yeah, I let him into the backyard this like for the 5th time in like 1 hour, and he runs over to like the fence that leaves our backyard to go to the street, and I'm sitting like, silly animal, you can't fit through that fence. You're like twice as wide as the whole, and he just goes straight through it because he's 70% fur, and my life is a lie. And he just like, you know, instantly runs out to the street, just like, I'm free. It's like, later, loser. And I try to go through the fence and it's locked. I didn't ask for this. This dog was for my sisters. Now they're never home. Me and my dad end up having to be the ones to deal with it. And 2, me and this dog are best friends. In fact, he's in the room. Floof. He searched through the deserts. He searched through the forests. He even searched on the... Go, Floof, go. You gotta get help.
Home. Take me home.
Come on. Dream SMP. You all know that name well. Origins SMP. You know that name a little less. Anyway, finally, my storyteller son found his stage. Whether a revolutionary with a trident or a pig in exile, Techno wove his own narrative into every pixel. He was the lore.
What's your favorite behind the scenes story with Techno? I guess my favorite behind the scenes story is probably the Potato War, but I mean, there's a few other things. I don't know, just planning lore together.
Dream XD has canonical access to creative mode, while the regular Dream is just like some homeless Teletubby that, hey, haha, JK.
Coming up with cool ideas and like hearing the stuff that he wanted to do, and a lot of people like they see the streams, whether it was lore or whether it was like just Hypixel just hanging out. He cared a lot. He cared like so much about telling a good story, seeing him work so hard to do that whilst also sort of facilitating other people's content at the same time. One thing he loved to see a lot of was other people's success. If you told him like, oh man, I just got like so many extra viewers, my chat loved it, he was so happy to see that effect kind of like permeate through to different people. He went out of his way to try and include people as much as he could in the stuff he was doing to kind of like lift everyone up. That would be my favorite behind the scenes sort of story, I guess, in general. It's very overarching, but
the most important thing I learned from him was also during the time on the Dream SMP, as it got bigger in a way none of us ever expected, and the lore and the love for all the lore we were doing really grew and grew and grew, and it kept feeling like we had to one-up ourselves all the time and always be these larger-than-life characters. And Techno would come in and he would join the lore in a way that was so authentically him, at least to me. Although, sure, he had a bit of a character going on, it was so true to himself, and it was so...
I'm gonna be the president of anarchy, boys!
Are you a commie, Techno?
That makes sense!
The anarchy empire!
Come in, me.
He was just having fun with it all the time in a way where at times I felt this real pressure to sort of try and come up with the best narrative hook and, you know, all this stuff. And he was killing it just through being himself. And it sort of taught me that you're always best being authentic.
My favorite memory with Technoblade definitely has to be when we did our Dream SMP lore stream a while back. I think that was so funny, where we basically just ran around and then we went up to Eric, I think, and basically just bullied him into giving us information.
Should we just start stabbing, or should we talk to him first?
All right, I'll do the talking.
All right. Diplomacy,
Hey.
gentlemen.
I'm currently going through the 5 stages of grief, so please be mindful. On that note,
Where the fuck is my child? I think it was just so silly and different to the other lore streams I'd done on the server before, which were a lot more serious. It was a lot more lighthearted, a lot more fun.
All right, well, the important thing is we've got the epic team up of Tubbo and everybody that's murdered Tubbo in the past, so now we can roll out.
This is so true. I think that's honestly my favorite memory with the stuff that we've made.
Techno joined the Dream SMP, and in Minecraft Championship, we teamed up. And we had an amazing victory in Minecraft Championship together.
Dream, please, please, I will tell everyone on my YouTube channel to subscribe to you.
Come on.
Thank you, Dream! Thank you, Dream!
And then we also did, on the Dream SMP, teamed up and did a lot of, Minecraft lore. So we were able to kind of come full circle and have a whole arc of going from me being a fan to us being rivals to then us being friends.
What is my favorite memory of Technoblade? Oh my gosh, I don't even know where to begin. His type of personality made it so every single experience was a great memory in and of itself. He was constantly making other people laugh.
I want to leave a smoking crater from which not only will Manberg never recover, but from which no new country can rise in its place. History will forget that a country ever existed in this area.
Do you advocate the murder of cats?
No.
Oh, okay. That sounds pretty good. I had a great experience on the Dream SMP off camera. We were all goofing around and it was just a blast. That was one of my favorite just experiences of all time, I think, with him. He was definitely someone who was just constantly trying to make other people have fun, and he always had this wit about him where he knew exactly what to say at any given time.
Hi. Hey, we don't have to fight.
I want to fight though.
I don't want to.
And I can just specifically remember here that it was one of my most favorite memories. It was very fun.
Some of the fondest memories I have of Techno is, of course, MCC, all the tournaments we've done together. But there's one live stream Techno did that is my favorite memory I have of him that maybe a lot of you don't know about. This is what I wanted to be known for on the Dream SMP, was causing the most deaths, and I kind of didn't flex it at all, but this caused easily 1,500 plus deaths on the server. But what this is, you can see how high up, that's where the clouds are, so you can see how high up we are. This is an obstacle course that I built. The main goal of this is to land in that little target there, but it's very hard to do so. What you need to do is land on the slime block, jump up there, mid-air, grab a bow out of that chest, drop down on that slime block, mid-air, grab arrows out of here, land on this slime block, shoot that little button there, which let me tell you is one of the hardest things to do because this thing is so tiny. And then not only that, that retracts a piston, which opens up this, which you need to land perfectly in the middle to land in the water. That's how you complete it. Now, a lot of people would just do it because it's like a fun little challenge. But that's not Technoblade. Technoblade would see this as a waste of time, unless I gave him a reason.
See, H-Bomb, he's brilliant, all right? You know, if he just said, hey, you want to do this obstacle course? I'd be like, maybe, I guess if I have time. But now the opportunity to steal something from Sapnap has come up. It's an entirely different game.
It worked. I'm thinking of the millions of views my channel's gonna get. I killed Technoblade 100 times on the Dream SMP. I was gonna be 1,000-air. You know Technoblade never dies, right?
Wait, no. You saw me bounce! You saw my corpse bounce! Pain. We're clutching this. My corpse bounces. First try, part 27. We don't talk about that. Alright, I'm just gonna take a stack of arrows out of the chest and just spam. Easy. That was so... No! I hit it! I hit the...
He was getting insanely close way too quickly, and it was making me so nervous because he only had like 20 deaths at that point. Which, if I were to upload me killing Technoblade only 20 times on here, that would be embarrassing. I wanted 100! But the thing is, in Minecraft, it is a lot of RNG on what's going down. If you shoot in the same spot over and over again, never moving your mouse, the arrows will not go in the same spot. It's very all over the place. So not only do you have to have it lined up almost perfectly on the button, but you gotta get super lucky for the arrow to hit the button. There is RNG in this, and the Technoblade, after hitting the button, does this.
Of course. Oh my god. Oh, that was awesome. Doesn't count, but it was awesome. Easy first try, baby. Oh, that was so trivial and on my first try.
I was like so happy that he was able to do it because it was such an impressive feat, but I felt so ashamed. He truly was just a legend of Minecraft and continues to be to this day.
Another one of my great experiences with him actually took place somewhere over here. Oh my gosh. Yes. Oh my goodness. This was awesome. I would come on late at night. Techno would be right here and he would just be AFK. There would be spiders and just the mobs would be backing up, and Techno would occasionally come back and he'd be AFKing and he would kill them. And then he'd go back to AFK and the server would lag so bad. But it was so funny because both Techno and I used this mob spawner, I think, the most. And we were always on really late at night working on stuff or just playing, and he would grind for XP. And every so often I would come here and I would see him here and I would like cover this spot and I'd be like, okay, I don't want him to die because the spiders could sometimes get out. And I think on occasion he thanked me for it. It was like, hey, thanks for boxing me in. But it was just awesome being on late at night, and the fact that we were both just crazy grinders willing to grind things was one of the things that I really liked. He was very genuine in everything he did, and he would sit on for hours and hours to get the XP he needed to enchant the armor he needed or to mine the netherite. He was just that type of person. Oh my goodness, it was awesome.
I don't have too many behind the scenes stories with Techno, but we were on the same server and he was always on that server. He had to have had one of the highest play times because he was always building, always doing something, and I thought that was really cool.
My favorite memory with Techno was probably the day he took over Lamamberg and he bombed us all.
Oh yes, the TNT, the chunker, yes.
He had that whole lattice and he was raining TNT down from above, and he just sort of took us all on and won. It was so cool. He looked so cool in that moment. And not only that, but being there and taking part in it, especially if it's someone who wasn't really involved in the planning, was just told this time and date. It was really fun. I didn't know what he was going to do.
Technoblade, Peter won't be happy about this.
I didn't know what he was going to pull off.
Oh no.
Hello.
Oh, you say the notch out, we just say the notch out.
Oh, I've got a few of those.
For another
It was a really fun thing to be a part of, and he made that fun. And we had that one-on-one showdown at the end where he killed me and took my third cannon life.
Welcome to the youngest anarchy server in Minecraft.
Don't besmirch Fit MC's name.
Oh, you want to do this right here, right now, Jack Manifold?
I do want to do it. Wait, let me...
I own an axe, Jack Manifold. Oh, that's awkward.
Yeah, it really is.
Yeah, pretty awkward.
You really lost, Technoblade. I'm really known for my PvP, and you're really suffering the consequences. All right, okay, I'm suffering the consequences now.
Oh, look at this car.
Oh, you messed up. You messed up. Oh, no!
I did that whole bit of lore where I went to hell and clawed my way back up out of spite. That was all because of him killing me in that moment. I think. I might have a wrong memory. That was one of my deaths. Pretty sure that was the last one, though. I suppose the question is favorite memory, isn't it? And that is my memory. Whether it's true is a different thing. As far as I remember, Techno was my third and final death, and I could have died to no one better.
Boy, how lucky was I? I got to watch my brother play Minecraft with other people. Wow, living the dream. The dream. I didn't even like Dream SMP that much. Sure, cool concept, but everyone was just so loud, obnoxiously loud. Like, calm down. You're not auditioning for America's Got Talent. Jeez. No shade though, I was just an emo 12-year-old at the time. The only time I watched the Dream SMP without my brother was when I was bored, and who did I see? Bad Boy Halo, live. Eventually, Bad Boy Halo visits Tommy in the stream. He's in his homeless arc? Huh. I hadn't heard much of the man, only knew him as what he portrayed himself to be. I think one word can probably encapsulate how I thought he was back then. Downright infuriating. Whoops, that's two. Now don't come for me, demonic fans. Tommy isn't a cow, so go suck on someone else's tits. Of course, downright infuriating was also Tom's online persona back then. Back then, he was also just an edgy teenager who had a weird surrounding circle of adult friends. Huh. Hope nothing bad comes from that. Adults hanging out with minors. I actually hated Tommy in it for the longest time. Sorry, Tom, you're annoying. But I've done some thinking, and I realized why I didn't like him. It's because he got to hang out with my brother, and I didn't. Maybe I am still emo after all. Maybe I'm not. Maybe I'm just jealous. Or maybe I'm the same 12-year-old who wanted to play Minecraft with my brother, but got replaced with British children.
It was really lovely to see just how dedicated he was to the Dream SMP. And I think when all of us stopped being as dedicated, he was so committed to the story, and even right till the very end, all the plans he had, and it was really inspiring just how into the sort of craft, for lack of a better word, for the pun, that he was. He's just so into it, and he never changed, man. He was always Technoblade, and I just thought that was so sick.
Hello, I'm Anthony, the social lead here at Mojang, and like so many of you, I discovered Technoblade years ago when I started playing. He was a legend not just for his skill, but for the way that he made people feel connected, seen, and part of something so much bigger. For a lot of us here at Mojang, that connection runs incredibly deep. So we wanted to come together today as fans, creators, and the people lucky enough to work on the game Techno loves so much to say thank you, and congratulations on 20 million subscribers. Here are just a few voices from the team sharing how Technoblade inspired us, shaped our journeys, and left a legacy we'll never forget.
Losing him sent reverberations through the community, but his memory lives on, and we are so happy that he continues to have a profound impact across Minecraft and our player community.
I'm Christina, and I work here at Mojang with a lot of our up-and-coming Minecraft content creators, and something I hear over and over is what a big inspiration you've been. So thanks for kicking off an entire generation of gaming creators.
The biggest lesson I learned from Technoblade is that you can bring your authentic self into everything you do. And that big personality actually makes you more successful. Technoblade has inspired a generation of creators, not only in Minecraft, but on the internet as a whole. And I am so honored to celebrate his legacy today.
Technoblade had a lot to teach us. The community, Mojang in general. He taught us how to have self-confidence. He told us how to laugh at arrogance. He told us how to farm 500 million potatoes. So thank you, Technoblade.
Whether conquering hardcore mode with nothing but a steering wheel, becoming the undisputed Potato King in Hypixel Skyblock, or leading his team to victory twice in the Nox Crew Minecraft Championship, Technoblade's competitive spirit was both fierce and infectious. Yet, beneath that competitive edge was a deep sense of camaraderie. He used competition not to build walls, but to forge connections, inspire laughter, and invite everyone to reimagine what's possible in our blocky universe. Through his creativity and relentless pursuit of excellence, Technoblade didn't just play Minecraft, he transformed it. Thank you, Technoblade. You're deeply missed, and your legacy continues to inspire us all.
Techno, you made every potato farm and PvP battle unforgettable. Thank you for the memories. Technoblade never dies!
Behind the crown was a son, a brother, and a friend. Alex played with passion and he lived with purpose. His genius wasn't just in clicks, but in kindness, and I am so proud of him. And even when the game paused, his impact didn't. Courage, laughter, community, resilience. His voice, literally and figuratively, continues to echo far beyond his last upload. Technoblade never dies, because we remember him on our screens, in our servers, and in our hearts. Congratulations on 20 million, son. You will always be my boy. Nobody deserves this more than you.
My name is Stacy, and I was Alex's stepmom. When I first entered the picture, Alex was a very introverted, recent high school grad, and I play very different kinds of video games than Alex did. Think New York Times spelling bee, matching games, you get the picture. Not super conducive to building a really deep relationship right off the bat. For a long time, I would say, "Hi, Alex, how are you doing? Having a good day?" And he would literally bow to me. That was it. But over time, I clearly became just part of the family, and he became used to me. That meant I was privy to all sorts of wonderful things, like his stomping around the house at 3 in the morning, muttering his lines, practicing them all the time, or slamming the microwave door at any hour of the morning when he was making his cheesy baked potatoes, or leaving his dishes on top of the dishwasher and letting me put them in the dishwasher, or cleaning up his Uber Eats remains. All good stuff. I was really happy, though, when Technodad invited him to join us to watch a show, The Queen's Gambit, all about chess, something that Alex had mastered at a young age. It was just a wonderful opportunity to be able to have a regular time to spend together, a shared experience, a chance just to be together. And it gave me a chance also to learn more about Alex. But my favorite story was our wedding, which happened right here in this studio in the middle of the COVID pandemic. Technodad had asked Alex to be our best man. And as such, it fell to him to deliver the very first toast at our very small reception. Technodad had told me he was very nervous and had been thinking a lot about what to say. So I was incredibly curious about what he would do or say that evening. When he first started, super a la Technoblade, he said, "When Dad asked me to be best man, I thought, wait, isn't that nepotism?" You can imagine everyone laughed. But then he waited a minute and he said, "But seriously, I have never seen my dad as happy as he is with Stacy, and I'm grateful. Welcome to the family, Stacy. Congratulations, both of you." I can't even say how much it meant to me. It made me feel seen, accepted, and loved. Thank you, Alex.
You know, it's funny. Every day after school, I'd see my brother coming down the stairs in passing. Every single time, without fail, he'd call me a nerd. On brand, right? Well, I'd call him a nerd back. Sibling love, am I right?
I remember one moment in particular. We were on really late at night, just hanging out, and we hop into a voice call, him and a couple other people, and we're just chatting. And I remember him talking about his family. It wasn't like something we talked about a lot, but it was something that he brought up in this call that I was there with him, with the people we were chatting. And I could tell in just the little bit of a conversation that he had and the little bit of the stuff he said, he really loved and cared about his family. And that was something that like stood out to me in that moment, that he just brought it up and started chatting and being like, hey, you know, I won't go into the specifics, but it really showed to me that he loved his family and he cared about them. And that was very admirable. But not just admirable, it showed that he was just like, he was just a regular guy. He was a regular guy in spite of all of the talent that he had. And I don't know, I just really love that.
Something that I haven't talked too much about online is the fact that Techno and I actually became friends when we were both high schoolers. So I knew him for so many years, and I am so grateful to have known him because he was truly one of a kind. Like, just the funniest, most caring, and most giving, and like, he was full of good advice, and he was always so willing to help with anything that I needed. Like, especially like I would message him about something with YouTube, and he knew everything. I don't even understand. He really knew everything. He was so smart and just such a good friend. I just want to say thank you to everyone who continues to watch Techno's videos and continues to support him, because his channel was his pride and joy, and he made that clear, you know, even when he had 100,000 subscribers, he always knew that he was going to make it because he put so much into this. This was his everything. And I just appreciate all the people who are still trying their best to keep his legacy alive.
You know, whenever I hear about people's favorite Techno moment, it'll usually entail one of his great escapades, such as taking down the government or plotting to overtake a college kid and farming potatoes in a virtual world, which chain reacted into a world war lasting months, if not a year. Or maybe it's one of his great Bed Wars win streaks. But looking back, the moments that have been the craziest for me have just been the random nerd references that just whiplash out of nowhere. For example, one day I just finished up school, coming home exhausted by myriad amounts of assignments due the following day. Now I recall it being a literature review, as something I absolutely hated. Now I had to read a ton of literary pieces, then write some essays about their social implications in the Romantic period. And of course, instead of doing that work, as any self-respecting Techno fan would, I decided to put up one of his videos to procrastinate a little bit. And admittedly, I had completely forgotten about the assignment, which definitely isn't good. But hey, I was enjoying my favorite YouTuber. What do I care? That is until, you know, moments later, I was just enjoying my downtime, neglecting my responsibilities, when all of a sudden, I hear a haunting line coming from my very east of stress. I once met a traveler from an antique land. I recognized it immediately. That is Ozymandias by Percy frickin' Chili. Now, Techno legit was just reciting one of the poems that I had to review and write an essay for class. How did he know? Never before have I been so jump scared by a video. Techno had unintentionally reminded me to do my homework. All because he had happened to also be a nerd that once upon a time took, you know, English literature classes as he was majoring in that. And, yeah, because of that, I ended up remembering the assignment and got an A for it. I don't know if there's any psychological correlations, but afterwards I did go on to essentially minor in English literature because of that. But to this day, I still think about that moment. And I think about the countless other moments where I've heard him make references in his videos. For example, one time he references Game of Thrones by saying, "The night is long and full of terror," if anybody else gets that reference. But somehow, the mad lad had hijacked my moment of peace, and to this day, I am traumatized for it. Obviously in a good way, but how did he know? And I guess we'll never know, but hey, I do owe my thanks for that A, so thank you very much, Technoblade. And yeah.
I'll never forget the day he uploaded it, because I was just chilling on my Skyblock island when all of a sudden a bunch of people started visiting me, coming to my island and sending me friend requests and talking to me, and they're telling me that I was in Technoblade's newest video called The Great Potato War. I left a comment on it, and no one really saw it, because, I mean, there's just a bunch of people commenting on his new video, and Techno was nice enough to message me telling me to leave a new comment so he could also find it, and he pinned it for me, which was really nice, and it drove a lot of traffic to my channel. That was just the first kind thing he did for me, because in the second Potato War video, he kind of told everyone to stop being so mean to me, because I guess some people didn't understand that even though we were rivals for the potato collection leaderboard, we didn't actually hate each other. So he told everyone to like kind of relax, which I appreciated, obviously. We weren't good friends or anything where we would talk every day, but I could say that every time I interacted with him on or off camera, he was just super nice to me. And I even remember one time he asked me if he could use a clip of my stream for his video, and I was just like, you don't have to ask, like, of course. I wouldn't be making videos if it weren't for you. Like, before the first Potato War video, I had like less than 100 subscribers, and I wouldn't really post much on YouTube. And then once the first video went out, like everything changed.
What was my favorite memory with Technoblade? That was the Wimothy mod video I did with Tom years ago. It feels like forever ago. But the concept was I became one of the most powerful creatures in Minecraft, like a wither, right? And I had all these powers. I had like 100 hearts, some crazy stuff. And Techno kept just beating the shit out of me, no matter how strong we made me. So I constantly had to, like, you know, off camera, I'd make a joke, and then I'd like go over here and I'd be like, okay, /set health 2000. How is he doing so well? I should be able to win. So it was literally me fighting an uphill battle just to keep like the script of the video even going in a direction, because Technoblade was just that good. Oh my God. It's so ridiculous to think about, but I'm like constantly cheating in that video just to stay alive as the strongest thing. And he was funny about it too. That made it even worse, is that he was funny while he was doing it.
All right, well, my chat's saying you're pretty trustworthy and that we should be friends, so.
Really?
Yep, that's what they're all saying.
Hey guys, I'm Carl, and today I wanted to talk to you guys about my friend Technoblade. Techno has honestly been a gigantic inspiration for me, both with content and just as a person for a very long time now, and I owe so much to him. Many years ago now, I started a stream series that to this day I'm so proud of, that I almost really didn't do to the fullest ability, and a lot of the reason that that show became what it was because of Techno. He was so supportive, he thought everything I was doing was so cool, and honestly, he was such a bigger creator than me at the time, and him just even showing up to being a part of those silly streams did a lot more than he even ever knew and I ever got to tell him. And I'm so proud of him for hitting 20 million subscribers. That is the coolest thing on the planet. I don't think anybody deserves it more than him. I think he's the coolest Minecraft YouTuber that's ever existed. And I thought it'd be a fun time if I showed you guys some of my favorite clips of us interacting together in some of the projects that we've worked on together. So enjoy.
This one guy on this poster over here, he just took all of it and ran. Have any of you seen this here individual? Yeah.
You've never seen him before? That's how he gets you.
I haven't seen him since he got up and left town.
And you have no idea where he can be?
No idea. you must not have gotten the memo. I specifically said no poor people, okay? So can you please tell me what your estate is? What is your assets?
I stream Minecraft. Don't worry, I'm not poor.
Ooh, a rich person. All right this way. I ain't ever seen a horse go to church. All right, Carl, but look me in the eyes. Look me in the eyes.
Your eye?
Don't get too big of a head now. Yes, but you have to consider that commoners aren't people. They're poor.
Okay.
I just praised Jesus and I'm not even a Christian. That's how happy I am.
Can
in
you
this
show us
world,
around?
there's
Oh,
only
I'm
two
sorry.
kinds of folks, the bad and the worse.
That sounded cool. If you're watching this, I just wanted to say thanks for supporting my friend. It means a lot to me. I wouldn't be where I am today without Techno, and I think I could say the same about a lot of people that I know. And even though he's not physically here with us right now, Technoblade never dies. He is always going to be a part of everything that I do, whether it be literally in the background of a comic or an animation I make, or just the spirit of him, the spirit of his wittiness, his comedy, his passion, his friendships, all of the above. It combines to make a great man. Techno, I love you. And it really means a lot to be able to be a part of something like this, so thanks Techno Dad for having me, and thanks guys for listening.
I feel a strange urge to plug my social media.
Don't forget, we're all in this together.
Oh, of course.
No matter what happens, we are still friends, you know what I mean?
Unless something bad happens.
Yeah, unless it's something that isn't good.
Oh hey, I didn't see you there. Hi, I'm Y Black Hole, one of the editors of this very video. Whoa. Now let's skip the pleasantries. I've been watching Technoblade for over 10 years. My first ever Minecraft video was of Skyhorse, so if you couldn't tell, he's been a little bit of an inspiration for me. For years, I even made animations based around him, and now I'm in an actual Technoblade video. And it means so much. Dude, I actually made it into a Technoblade video. Are you proud of me?
I don't know, man. I'm just a table.
But in all seriousness, I do really miss him. His humor is so unbelievably fundamental to who I am as a person, to who I dream to become. This man's videos and streams have carried me through such a large portion of my life. They've so greatly inspired me in the silly videos I make today. And so I guess this is my chance to say, thank you. Thank you to Technoblade for years of the most fun and downright bonkers bananas moments. Don't get me started on Brick the Horse, or even his elbows. I fluster easily. Thank you to Techno Dad, oh the rambunctious man that he is, for continuing your son's legacy, for all you've done for charity, and for being what the community needed most, a dad. You're one of the main reasons why the Blood God's flame will never waver, will never die out. And you're one of the main reasons why Technoblade will never die. Thank you.
My favorite memory with Technoblade was one night when I was playing in a server with him. It was late night, I believe it was me and some other creators playing, and Technoblade just so happened to be on the server that night. And even though we didn't interact on the regular, we did that one night. And this is where one of my favorite memories spawned of me and Technoblade, and I'm sure a lot of people have seen it. Technoblade had in his bio the second worst thing that happened to those orphans. At that point, for some reason, it completely went over my head as to why his bio said that or what it meant. And while we were in the server, me and Technoblade were talking with each other, and I was acting all scared because, again, I had that trauma from Minecraft Mondays. I was acting all scared, and just a question spawned, and I asked Technoblade, why does your bio say the second worst thing to happen to those orphans? And he mentioned something about being the second worst, and I'm like, what's the first worst thing to happen to the orphans? And just his delivery is just incredible. He goes, quackity, they weren't always orphans. It was just such, his delivery, the moment, the context, it was so perfect, and it was such a funny moment. And I'm really glad that that moment has been recorded, just completely put out there in the world. It is definitely one of my favorite memories with Technoblade.
Behind the scenes and on camera, he was always so incredibly kind.
He was definitely intimidating to me at first because I didn't really know how to talk to anyone back then, but I remember our bonding streams that we did for our little Minecraft characters very, very fondly, and I was able to grow closer to him through that. He was someone who really kind of understood me in a way that not a lot of people did at the time. Although we sadly rarely talked personally in a way, the few times that we did, he really encouraged me in times that I really needed it the most. He continues to be why I'm able to do what I do, and for that I'm always going to be grateful to him. I remember one of my fondest memories with him was actually, I believe, the last stream he ever did. He reached out to me, asked if I just wanted to play Hypixel, and thankfully I said yes. It was just Hypixel, where both of us kind of started out, and it was some of the most fun that I had, and I'll forever cherish that stream.
Hey guys, Antfin here. In March of 2022, I was in a 100-player Hunger Games competition that I believe Tommy Innit hosted. Let's just say it was absolutely no surprise that Technoblade wound up absolutely stomping on us, and I had the privilege of being slain by the Blade himself. That wasn't the first time that I got slayed by him.
How did Technoblade influence me as a creator? Well, in the early days, just showing you could be yourself that much was so sick. You didn't have to give a toss about anything. And then later down the line, yeah, he was just himself, man, till the very end. And I just loved that. It was so inspiring. And even when you think, mate, don't spend a year of your life farming potatoes, he did it because that's what he wanted to do. And I think that was it was ridiculous, but it was awesome, man. Yeah, he was really awesome. He had a lot of influence on me and who I've well, my whole life, really. He's a legend.
What's the most important thing you learned from him? I guess not to give a shit in like the most wholesome way possible, if that makes sense. I grew up being bullied a lot because of like my hair color and stuff. Didn't have that many friends when I was very young. It took me a while to sort of get the confidence to be like, I'm me and fuck you if you don't like that sort of thing. But in the content space, I had to kind of like feel that area out again. Didn't want to step on anybody's toes. I didn't want to like upset anyone. And I think Techno taught me that like, as long as you're just unapologetically yourself and not a total dick, you're chilling. People like will respect you. You'll open up more doors and you'll overall just have a much more like fun time. And as funny as it sounds, I did learn a little bit of that from Techno, just because of how much of like a warm character he was to be around. It's hard to explain really. Like you can look back at videos and stuff and kind of like see it, but even the videos of him like stabbing his like heroes in Minecraft Monday, like Captain Sparkles and everyone, he was doing it out of love. You know, he was doing it like for the content, and like I think a lot of his kills he was like, I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry. Yeah, I learned a little bit of how to navigate that space a bit better because of him. So I was still very new to all the attention, especially in 2019. That was crazy.
Something he definitely taught me is that there is no length too far to go in pursuit of a YouTube video. The amount of hours that he spent doing like things that I wouldn't personally ever, and the lengths he'd go to just for a video was insane. And I reckon that's something I definitely learned, is that there is no length too far. There is no too much amount of time that you can put in to a single video.
I gotta say, he told me to go all out with the things that I do, and I think his effort and energy that he put into the lore, into just everything he did, really inspired me. He threw 110% into everything he built, everything he did, all of the content he did with people when he was fighting and PvPing. He went all out, and that's something that I really admire. Not just that, but the fact that because he put his heart into everything he did, it resonated with the people who were watching it. I think whether it was his Potato Wars saga, or his Bed Wars, or the tournaments he was in, or his content on the Dream SMP, every single thing that he did, you could tell he was doing it because he loved it and because he loved creating content for people. And I think that is the most admirable trait that I admire the most, that he tried to give the best he could to his audience. He really cared about giving them good content, and I really appreciated that. As one member of his audience, I really appreciated that. I felt like every time I was watching it, I was getting something awesome.
Technoblade reminds me that I need to do what I feel passionate about, what I care about. And I think that that is the most important thing you can do, is care. And oh my God, Technoblade cared so much. He cared about his community. He cared about his art. He cared about making people laugh and making people happy. And he cared about Minecraft so much. And he cared about this game that helped him and so many people become these huge creators, and also just was fun. He cared about having fun, and he cared so much about his friends. He was a good friend. I can't say that enough. He was a very good friend. He listened to you. He was there for you. He was a little more quiet and subdued than his persona, but he was one of the best friends I think you could ever ask for. And I am just forever grateful that I got to be his friend. It is one of the greatest honors of my life that I get to say Technoblade was my friend. And he was one of the best people I've ever met. So much so I got him tattooed on my arm. See that?
Now, I didn't learn this until I became friends with him, but the Techno you see in videos is the exact same way he is off camera. He was an authentic guy who made it to the top by being himself. Yeah, he played it up a bit for the camera, who doesn't? But he didn't put a mask on and pretend to be someone else when the camera was rolling. He was simply being himself. And another thing to add on to it, he didn't have all this high-end expensive tech. Dude had a single monitor and a Blue Yeti. So everyone out there complaining that they don't have the best setup to make videos, you don't need it, and this channel is proof.
What's the most important thing I learned from Technoblade? How to farm potatoes really, 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 really good. Stupidly good, to the point that it will never help anyone. But I do love that series. No, in on the real, on the low ski, I think what I learned, and I think what a lot of people learned, was how important it is to laugh and joke around and have fun with it, even especially when things are really bad, when things are just kind of shit. He showed us all that you can have what is a terrible situation and still laugh in the face of it, and to look that in the eyes and still keep that spirit about you. I think it was really, really special. And so I aspire to be like that as well.
One of the most important things I learned from Technoblade was towards the end of his life. He had mentioned in a video that he had a cancer. And my first instinct was to go check on him and send him a message. And in that moment, I was just so shocked, because the video where he announces was just so full of humor and lightheartedness in the face of such a tragic situation. It was so incredible that he kept his spirits up even in the worst of news. That to me showed courage, showed personality, and showed what Technoblade was really, really made of. It's inspiring to see someone, even in the darkest of moments, keeping just incredible humor and just using that as a way to keep things lighthearted. It takes a lot in someone's personality to portray that level of strength. That stuck with me a lot. And I'm just so glad that before he passed, I was able to tell him how much I respected that, how much he inspired me, how much of an incredible person he was.
What's the most important thing I learned from him? Do you know what? Quite an important one, really. In his last video, one of his last ones, when he'd been diagnosed with cancer, he said something, and I wrote it down, and I must reread it every couple of days, because I just think it's so meaningful. The viewers are saying to him, "Oh man, you gotta stop uploading, Tenno, look after your health." And he goes, "Nah, this isn't about you, bro. This is about me. I enjoy this, man." And I mean, hearing that from someone who was at the end of their life, I love this, mate. I love this so much. I think it's such a beautiful sentiment, and it's something I've thought about so much. That really, really stuck with me.
I think the most important thing that I've learned from him is that life is very valuable. I think Technoblade is genuinely, personally for me, my first loss, if that makes any sense. I grew up being very lucky to not really lose many people in my family or friends and whatnot. I don't think I've ever felt true grief, or at least grief to that extent, until I heard the news. And I remember on that day, it gave me a moment of reflection about my own life and how fragile life is, how quick it goes by, you know what I mean? It's very quick if you really think about it. It made me just really reflect on my own existence. It gave me a moment of reflecting on my own health and how I've been operating and how I've been living. And once again, as I grow older and as I reflect more, I get to better appreciate the times that we had. And it just makes me happy to know that I was a part of his journey, you know? And he was a part of mine. And I think that's really cool. I think that means the world to me. Although I wish I got to like spend more time with him, I'm very grateful for every interaction that I've had with him. Even if it's just a little, you know, reply on Twitter or something, and he's just like talking about potatoes or something, or bacon. And he did it. He hit 20 million. We were like joking about 10 million. Now he's doubling that. That is... he deserves it, and more. I hope he gets to 100 million someday. I don't know if that's possible, but that's what I said at 10 million, so I don't know. But I'm very happy for you, Techno. If you're here right now, if you're just sitting right here, like, behind the camera as a ghost or something, like, I'm so proud of you, dude.
My relationship with Technoblade started as a fan of his. I started YouTube a long time after him as Dream, and because of that, I was a fan of him before I did YouTube. The first time that I ever interacted with Techno was before I started YouTube. I coded a parkour challenge for Skeppy's channel that Technoblade actually participated in, and in the video, he just kind of like ruined my parkour. He just like cheated and like went around the edges and found like every possible way to like cheat the system. Most people don't even know that I made that parkour, but that parkour was a pretty popular like Technoblade moment back then, but I made that parkour. I coded it. So Technoblade was even beating me back then before I even did YouTube. And it's funny because this is actually one of the videos that inspired me to follow through with my plan to do YouTube, because it was a video that I heavily contributed to. I coded it and made the parkour, and Skeppy uploaded it and it did well. And so I went, wow, what if I did it myself?
He had a huge impact on a lot of people. A lot of people really loved his content. Watching his content was a great way to escape from whatever was happening in their own lives. I know I used it that way. He was just all around, he was just a great person. He just was a really genuine, down-to-earth, good guy.
When I first started watching him, I was very late to the party, but it was just a few months before a bombshell got dropped into my life and I felt like everything was out of my control. But I'd be watching Technoblade and paying attention to what he was doing, and he just had this way of breaking down the situations in front of him. It felt like he never treated anything in front of him like a roadblock. Like when a door was shut or something didn't work out, he never saw it as something that prevented him from accomplishing whatever it was he was working towards. It was just an obstacle that could be not just circumvented, but like there were ways to use it. And he'd use them in ways that no one expected to propel himself forward. We saw it happen time and again in the potato war. And then another thing that comes to mind is like the slash top. And it was absolutely insane to watch. And after he passed, I went through like, I think it was 4 months where I had a really hard time with figuring out what I wanted to do with my content, because his loss just hit the community so hard. But when I started doing Operation Techno's Legacy, where I did like looking at his PvP videos and trying to not only like apply what he did, but learn his way of thinking as well as I could understand it, my love of content didn't just come back. It's now unlike it ever was before. And I learned so much from doing that I can't even explain to people. I learned what it means to be passionate about something to the point that you can't help but keep going. When I look at my channel and all I do as a content creator now, I see how he has affected me in absolutely everything. My editing style, the jokes I tell, the way I approach problems. If I can positively impact people, even the tiniest fraction of the amount he did, I will be happy.
Technoblade inspired me as a content creator by introducing me to Bed Wars content. I don't think I would have been making my Bed Wars TikToks or streams if he wasn't the person that really pioneered that content style. I truly think that he was the main reason that Bed Wars got as popular as it did.
Technoblade influenced me as a creator in quite a few ways, really. At one point, he made me think a lot in terms of strategy and just my entire approach. A few years back, I remember he did these YouTube ads, and I was like, what? Okay, there's no way that's gonna work. No one pays any attention to YouTube ads. Surely that's not a good idea. So I thought it was pretty pointless, right? But guess what? It worked. It was probably the most efficient ad campaign I had ever seen, ever, in the history of YouTube. I'm not even joking when I say that. He gained so many subscribers from new people who saw those ads, so it just made me question everything. Because I remember he talked to me about it, and I was like, nah, that's not gonna work. And it was way, way before
all the stuff that we know now about the YouTube algorithm and whatnot, Technoblade was cracking the YouTube algorithm before we had like any knowledgeable data at all. But he'd find it. I don't know, man. Technoblade influenced me a lot as a creator. So much. Wow.
I remember a few years ago, I got to play Bed Wars with Techno. It's an opportunity a lot of people wish they could have had, and it was wasted on me, a guy who had never played Bed Wars until that very day. Now, luckily for me, my first day playing was also my first day winning a lot because I got to play with Techno. But he said something that day that I think I've carried with me every day, and only just recently did I realize it was wisdom that came from Technoblade. You see, we were talking about our names, and my name online is Ludwig, which is just my actual name. And I asked him where he got Technoblade, and he told me he stole it from somebody else when he was an 8-year-old. And I told him my first name ever was Luddy031. It's like a gamer tag that I used when I was 12. And he said, that's cool, and I should make it my channel URL. And at the time, my goal was to be a big YouTuber. You know, it's all I was ever focused on. Getting a video with a lot of views or a stream with a lot of views and being successful. And so I had basically set up everything to be in the best position possible for that to happen. Managing SEO, titles, thumbnails, ideas, clickbait, all that stuff was at the top of my mind. So when he said that, I thought it was a joke. I was like, nah, I made my channel name Ludwig Ogren so people could find me easier. I have my full legal name. Isn't it better to do something that's going to work better than the algorithm? And Techno, for as successful as a YouTuber as he was, never got too bogged down by the nerdy side of it. I think he was always focused on just making something really cool that people would like, that was authentic to him, and didn't worry too much about what the best thumbnail or title would be or what the best YouTube URL would be so people could find your videos. And the way he phrased it is that it would be iconic. Do something for 12-year-old me, you know, as an adult man by inserting this name that I created when I didn't know anything about who I would become or what I would be successful in doing, and recognizing that by making it a channel URL. I thought that was really cool, and I use it nowadays. I realized that, yeah, you can try to win the game of YouTube, or you could do shit that you think's iconic. And every time I do something iconic, I think of Techno.
To say Techno inspired me would be the understatement of a lifetime. I owe so much to that man. Before I'd sit down to work on a video, or even throughout the editing process, I'd watch a Techno video just to see how the master did it. The man pulled me out of a funk so many times. Just from watching his videos, I'd get new ideas for a scene or ways to improve the storytelling. I owe so much to this man.
As creators, we get bogged down with algorithms and what do people want, and we don't think about what do we want to make. And I think he was one of the first people that really taught me that you have to be passionate about what you're making. You have to care about what you're making. It's fine to make what other people want, but when you pull something up from your soul, it makes it that much more meaningful and that much more fun. Watching his videos, it never felt like, oh, he's just doing this because he wants the views or the likes, whatever he would say. He wanted to do it because he wanted to create. And I think that that's just a lesson I will always cherish from him, is that you have to be passionate about what you're doing. And if you can't be passionate, you know, be funny.
What I took away from his videos, like the potato war or beating the game with a steering wheel, was that it doesn't actually matter how skilled you are at something. What matters is how much you actually love doing it. Techno was successful not just because he was skilled at the game, but he also just had a genuine love of playing it. And this is something that was very clear in his videos, and in my opinion, it's part of what made them so engaging in the first place. To be able to look at something in a different way than others requires passion and having fun, and you could feel those things watching his videos.
I just remember growing up, like, wanting to be a full-time like video editor and whatnot, and I remember like my older videos, especially my Hypixel videos, I remember trying to make them super polished and really well edited, and then I'd go watch a Technoblade video and it's like very light, raw editing, but the storytelling is so good. I think after watching a lot of Techno's videos, it made me realize how important storytelling is for content, but also it made me think like, wow, like Techno's actually really good at telling stories, and I think that's really cool.
Techno has made me take YouTube so much more seriously in a way that's like, you know, obviously I'm just like grateful for the position, and after like the news and stuff, I literally just wrote down like, I'm gonna cut out like every single thing that's slowing me down and distracting me, and I just want to like storytell and inspire to like any kind of similar degree, because I'm just so grateful for the opportunity, and like, you know, I wouldn't be here without Techno's content and the inspiration and all that kind of stuff, because that was about 2 years ago, and since then I really have like tried very hard with YouTube, and I hope that I've been able to turn the inspiration that I had from him and all of the, you know, he like made so many videos that made like brighten my day when I was a kid. I hope that I've been able to turn that into something that also makes kids' days brightened and like my viewers have a nice time, inspire other creators, and like I think it's just really nice to know that his legacy like will literally spiral on for so long. Like, not only are the videos never going to get old or be one-upped, they're just like so unique. Yeah, not only are the videos timeless, and I think like so many people just enjoy going back and watching them, including me, but there's so many YouTubers like me who hopefully can continue doing the same thing because of how much inspiration came from his content. I think there's a lot of guys in Minecraft who, because of him, know that you don't need to go crazy with the over edits and like $100,000 tournament every single video for it to be good, and like Minecraft content has like stayed more authentic and nice because of his legacy. So
the main thing that I feel like I've really picked up is he has this switch where he can go from taking something insanely seriously to not serious at all. And he also has this thing that I feel like is very similar to me, where if he's given like one little hyperfixation, one little thing, he's just gonna go and roll with it. You can take any example from like building on Dream SMP to Skyblock infinite life grinding away potatoes, to the insane lengths he would go to like stay alive and stuff in these like Geppy troll videos. Everything. He has this innate ability to go from serious to funny to like in between, and it's just, you can't get mad at him. He's just that guy. I genuinely, that's my number one thing. My number two thing is he just like generally has this insane level of respect towards everyone. Like, he doesn't treat people differently. He treats everyone the same. He's so kind. He's so respectful. Like, even if you're playing a team-based game with him, you're not doing as well, like, he keeps the same level of energy and like friendship and just like general niceness to everyone, and that's really inspiring.
Techno, or Alex, he had this extremely dry sense of humor that matched so well with me that I always enjoyed any time that I would get to catch up with him or talk to him. One thing he left me with is this calming sense of, I don't even know how to describe it. It's a way to look at content in this world of like video creation or Twitch streaming or whatever. That is just very, you know, do what you want to do and block out the noise. And I don't know how much that was his own understanding of what he was going through at the time, because I certainly didn't know until things, you know, probably that last year. But even before that, he was always incredibly calm and, I don't know, comforting in a way as a friend that I miss very much. But he also left with me, and I try to carry on in my own life now.
I think the most important thing I learned from Techno was that if you have the will to achieve a goal, you will find a way. No matter how ambitious it is, just go all in and you will find a way to do that thing.
Hello, my name is Jillian, and I was one of Techno's stream and Discord mods. I could go on and on and on about how much he means to me, how much he's inspired me, and how profound it is to see the impact that he's had on both the Minecraft community and just the internet at large. But today, I just want to tell you my favorite Technoblade story. I found Technoblade's channel right around the time he posted his guide to Hypixel Skywars, which YouTube tells me was about 9 years ago. He had about 60 or 70k-ish subscribers at the time, you know, peak Skywars commentary era, and I immediately thought he was hilarious, but I also admired his skill at the game immensely. After all, I found him because I was desperately looking for someone to tell me how to improve my abysmal Skywars record. Good as the video was, it didn't work. Flash forward to almost a year later. I'm still a fan of his. It's Valentine's Day, and I'm following him on Twitter. I remember where I was so vividly. I was in my freshman year of high school's mandatory PE class, but for some reason, my coach had essentially given us the period off to do homework or play on our phones. So I'm sitting on my school's horrible gym bleachers, just scrolling through Twitter, when I see a tweet that Techno posted asking for last-minute Valentine's Day related Skywars thumbnails. And so, on my iPhone 6, I spent the rest of that period drawing this thumbnail here with my finger and a tiny screen. I whipped it up as fast as I could, and I was pretty proud of it, but unfortunately by the time my PE period was over, someone else had responded and he'd uploaded the video, The Power of Love. I responded with my piece anyway, and he dropped me a like, which I still thought was cool as hell, and then I went about the rest of my day, happy at least to have a new Skywars video to watch when I got home. 1 year later, it's Valentine's Day again. I don't remember exactly where I was this time, unfortunately, but all of a sudden, I remember getting a Twitter notification on my phone that Technoblade had quote retweeted my year-old art and said this. This amazing thumbnail was made for me last Valentine's, but I'd already uploaded the video. But it was too good not to use, so I decided to wait until next Valentine's Day. So here we are. Thanks for the incredible thumbnail, Jillian. Also, new video soon once it renders. And then sure enough, he used it for the video Happy Valentine's Day, noobs. Also, I might stream more. IDK. I am not the first artist to have my art used as a thumbnail by Technoblade, and I doubt I'm even the first artist to have a story like this. But I am just so impressed by how he has continually demonstrated throughout his career as a content creator that he cares for his community, his artists in particular, far beyond what's expected of YouTubers of his size. I think that's part of the reason why so many fan works of him exist and persist, because he was so outwardly supportive of what is undoubtedly an amazingly creative community who wants to give back to the amazingly creative content he made. With this story, I think it's just the fact that a whole year passed and he still managed to think of it and quote retweet it that got to me. And you want to know the kicker, my favorite part of this story? Another year later, once he was in fact streaming more, I joined his channel as a channel member and gained access to the Discord I would eventually go on to mod for. Here's what he said when he saw the notification go through.
Oh, welcome, Jillian. I know you. You made the Valentine's Day thumbnail. Welcome to the channel.
Technoblade is a one-of-a-kind creator. You don't need me to tell you that. But when I think back on him and his legacy, I think about just how seen he made me feel for my silly little thumbnail that, again, I just drew on my phone in an hour. I think about the way that he uplifted artists and uplifted fans of him, and I think about those moments before he was a big creator when I was just so happy that a content creator I liked and respected was willing to interact with his community on Twitter, on Discord, and on YouTube. I miss him so much, but I'm very grateful to everyone who's helping to keep his memory alive, and I hope this story made you smile and reminded you of why he was such a prolific creator.
Hi, my name is Amy the Mudkip, and I am the artist who drew the profile picture Technoblade uses on YouTube. I've been watching Techno since his Blitz Survival Games days over 10 years ago. Like so many others, I looked up to him, not just for his incredible skills, but also for his unique sense of humor. When I drew that artwork about 8 years ago, I never imagined that he would see it, let alone use it as his profile picture on YouTube. It really meant the world to me, knowing that something I created resonated with someone I admired so deeply. It gave me the confidence and motivation to keep creating and improving. Because of the love and support from both him and his amazing community, I found the courage to pursue art more seriously, and I still continue to pursue art as my dream career. I will always be incredibly grateful to Technoblade and to all of you for helping me make that possible. Thank you for everything.
Hi, you haven't seen me before. I'm Technodad's editor. I've been editing for Technodad for over 2 years now. I edit for Technodad's YouTube channel, the One of Us Global Foundation, which is Technodad and Stacy's foundation. I helped film the PAX East vlog, and I'm help editing this video right now. 2 years ago, I was approached by a peer of mine asking if I wanted to help edit for a YouTube channel. At the time, I was trying to be a high school physics teacher, so I said no. But something spoke to me, and 5 minutes later, I let them know I changed my mind, and I was completely on board to help edit for the channel. And ever since then, I've been helping edit for Technodad. I've done a lot through the years, and I've also seen a lot. Between seeing all the Technoblade cosplayers at VidCon and TwitchCon, hearing some of my bosses talk about Techno and his impact on their content career, and even seeing some students at my university walking around the quad with Technoblade merch, it's all been a wild ride. And one of the things that I think about a lot is how big Techno's impact has been. I mean, you and I probably live worlds apart. We've lived completely different lives. You have had your experiences, and I've had mine. But you and I are in the same place right now, and that is with this video. And that's something that's crazy to me. How one person's impact can bring so many others together. And that's something I hope to keep up with Technoblade's legacy. Even though I didn't really watch Techno all too much, one of the things that stuck out to me was his resilience. And through the ups and downs in my life, it's been a mentor for me. And when I think about Techno and his legacy and what we want to move forward, I think about the resilience. And I think about how important that is to all of us.
Hey there, I'm another person you've probably never seen before. I'm Technodad's tech guy, as well as the CTO of Technodad and Stacy's charitable organization, the One of Us Global Foundation. In 2023, I was approached by an old friend about developing a Minecraft event to celebrate Technoblade's legacy in the Minecraft community. As a longtime fan of techno, my answer was an immediate yes. And although it was a little scuffed at the end, I'd like to think that a scuffed event would have made techno proud and was an appropriate homage to his memory. Well, that and the $100,000 it ended up raising for charity. I never knew Technoblade personally, but I've been a longtime fan of his videos, dating all the way back to 2015. As a longtime Hypixel player, my favorites are his Blitz Survival and Bed Wars series. Coincidentally, we both even joined Hypixel for the first time on the exact same day, only hours apart. Little did I know that at the time I was in the presence of a legend. Seeing how much Techno's community has flourished over the years, even after his passing, really blows my mind. From the amazing fan art to the cosplayers at conventions and the countless tributes to his memory, it's amazing to see a community still so united. It's one that I'm happy and honored to be a part of.
Hey there, I'm yet another person you've never met before. I'm a developer based in the United Kingdom who currently works directly for Technodad and Stacy, namely on their charity's website, the One of Us Global Foundation. In 2023, I was approached by a fellow developer and friend to work on an upcoming charity project in the name of the late Technoblade. As someone who has watched his videos for a while at that point, especially during the COVID lockdown, my answer was a quick and simple one. I'm happy to help. The event in the end raised over $100,000, something that myself and the team I worked with were extremely proud of, despite the total annihilation of any control and order during it, something that I know for a fact Techno would have enjoyed. To this very day, I've been watching Technoblade's content since 2016, usually as a source of background commentary to listen to while I did my homework or university work, or to just enjoy passing the time without eating dinner. As time went on, the community flourished around me, and still does to this very moment, day by day getting stronger yet. From the collaborations and the fan art, to the community events, and the big rank on Hypixel, it was endless. It has and still is an honor to be a part of this community, and an even bigger honor to be one of many to carry his legacy forward.
So Technoblade was my biggest hero, and around a year ago I was very fortunate to meet Mr. Technodad. I got to tell him all about these stories of how much of an impact his son made on my life. I've learned so much from Technoblade. He wasn't just a favourite YouTuber, he was an inspiration, not just to me, but to millions of people. His videos are so unique. His attitude and humour just made me feel like I could achieve anything. Being a Technoblade fan wasn't just like watching any other YouTuber. I felt so proud to be a fan of his. The Hypixel community worshipped Technoblade, and it melts my heart that I was able to be a part of that. It's not just me who was affected by him. There's millions of people that he has impacted so much, and he is beyond a legend. He is a hero. I used to go around my house when I was younger, yelling Technoblade quotes around to my family. And I remember going to the park all the time with Tom and just always talking about what Technoblade might be doing. And we were so inspired by him. So to have been in videos with him is an honor. There's nobody like Technoblade, nobody close to Technoblade. He's an absolute legend. Thank you, Technoblade. You brought me so much happiness, so much laughter, so much love.
I can't believe he's almost at 20 mil, man. He'd be losing his shit. He'd be losing his fucking mind seeing that he's this close to 20 mil. I don't think I'll ever experience something quite like Techno and his community. Like, there's been things that have come close, but they're not the same, really. He was one of a kind, man. He really was.
And even now, like with the people still supporting him and him getting this cameo in the Minecraft movie, stuff like that, it's just a testament to like how great he is, how great he still is. Like he truly never dies. Like people still love what he's done. It's amazing. Like it truly means a lot, just even as a friend of his, to see people still wanting to care about his craft and his influence on the world. It's really awesome.
I never got the opportunity to meet Alex personally. Technoblade and I, we weren't really in the same Minecraft YouTuber circles, but I didn't need to know him personally to know what an amazing person he was. Like many of you, I'm sure, Techno was a beacon of light for my oldest daughter during a dark time in the pandemic. His positive energy and playfulness just emanated throughout his videos. He not only gave us something uplifting to watch, but also reminded us that joy was still possible to find. Knowing how much Technoblade has meant to so many of us, I was just overcome with joy to see his tribute during the Minecraft movie.
Yeah, I'm so hyped that he hit 20 mil and he made it into the frickin' Minecraft movie, dude. That is so legendary.
Legends never die, and congrats on 20 million Techno.
Congrats on 20 million subscribers.
Congratulations on 20 mil Techno.
Congratulations on 20 million Technoblade.
Congratulations on 20 million Techno.
Congrats on 20 million subs.
Never dies.
Technoblade 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 never dies. Technoblade never dies.
Technoblade never dies.
I don't have much else to say, so with that, I leave you in true Technoblade fashion. Subscribe to Technoblade, nerds! I could have done that better.
I see the player you mean. Technoblade? Yes, take care. It has reached a higher level now. It can read our thoughts. That doesn't matter. It thinks we are part of the game. I like this player. It played well. It did not give up. It is reading our thoughts as though they were words on a screen. That is how it chooses to imagine many things when it is deep in the dream of a game. Words make a wonderful interface, very flexible, and less terrifying than staring at the reality behind the screen. They used to hear voices, before players could read. Back in the days when those who did not play called the players witches and warlocks, and players dreamed they flew through the air on sticks powered by demons. What did this player dream? This player dreamed of sunlight and trees, of fire and waters. It dreamed it created, and it dreamed it destroyed. It dreamed it hunted and was hunted. It dreamed of shelter. Ha! The original interface, 1 million years old, and it still works. But what true structure did this player create in the reality behind the screen? It worked with $1 million to sculpt a true world in a fold of the blah blah blah, and created a blah blah for blah blah and the blah. It cannot read that thought. No, it has not yet achieved the highest level. That it must achieve in the long dream of life, not the short dream of a game. Does it know that we love it? The universe is kind? Sometimes through the noise of its thoughts it hears the universe, yes. But there are times it is sad in the long dream. It creates worlds that have no summer, and it shivers under a black sun, and it takes its sad creation for reality. To cure it of its sorrow would destroy it. The sorrow is part of its own private task. We cannot interfere. Sometimes when they are deep in dreams, I want to tell them they are building true worlds in reality. Sometimes I want to tell them of their importance in the universe. Sometimes when they have not made a true connection in a while, I want to help them speak the word they fear. It reads our thoughts. Sometimes I do not care. Sometimes I wish to tell them this world you take for truth is really blah blah and blah. I wish to tell them that they are blah and the blah. They see so little of reality in their long dream, and yet they play the game. But it would be so easy to tell them. Too strong for this dream. To tell them how to live is to prevent them living. I will not tell the player how to live. The player is growing restless. I will tell the player a story, but not the truth. No, a story that contains the truth safely in a cage of words, not the naked truth that can burn over any distance. Give it a body, again. Yes, player. Use its name. Technoblade. Player of games. Good. Take a breath now. Take another. Feel air in your lungs. Let your limbs return. Move your fingers. Have a body again under gravity and air. Respawn in a long dream. There you are. Your body touches the universe again at every point, as though you were separate things, as though we were separate things. Who are we? Once we were called the spirit of the mountain, father, sun, mother, moon, ancestral spirits, animal spirits, jinn, ghosts, the green man, then gods, demons, angels, poltergeists, aliens, extraterrestrials, leptons, quarks. The words change. We do not change. We are the universe. We are everything you think isn't you. You are looking at us now, through your skin and your eyes. And why does the universe touch your skin and throw light on you? To see you, player, to know you, and to be known. I shall tell you a story. Once upon a time there was a player. The player was you, Technoblade. Sometimes it thought itself human, on the thin crust of a spinning globe of molten rock. The ball of molten rock circled a ball of blazing gas that was there 330,000 times more massive than it. They were so far apart that light took 8 minutes to cross the gap. That light was information from a star, and it could burn your skin from 150 million kilometers away. Sometimes the player dreamed it was a miner on the surface of the world that was flat and infinite. The sun was a square of white. The days were short, there was much to do, and death was a temporary inconvenience. Sometimes the player dreamed it was lost in a story. Sometimes the player dreamed it was other things, in other places. Sometimes these dreams were disturbing, sometimes they were very beautiful. Sometimes the players woke from one dream into another, then woke from that into a third. Sometimes the player dreamed it watched words in a stream. Let's go back. The atoms of the player were scattered in the grass, in the rivers, in the air, in the ground. A woman gathered the atoms. She drank and ate and inhaled, and the woman assembled the players in her body. And the player awoke from the warm, dark world of his mother's body into the long dream. And the player was a new story, never told before, written in letters of DNA. And the player was a new program, never run before, generated by a source code 1 billion years old. And the player was a new human, never alive before, made from nothing but milk and love. You are the player, the story, the program, the human. made from nothing but milk and love. Let's go further back. The 7 billion atoms of the player's body were created long before this game in the heart of a star, so the player too is information from a star, and the player moves through a story which is a forest of information planted by a man called Julian on a flat, infinite world created by a man called Marcus that exists inside a small private world created by the player who inhabits the universe created by... Shush. Sometimes the player created a small private world that was soft and warm and simple, sometimes hard and cold and complicated, sometimes it built a model of the universe in his head, flecks of energy moving through vast empty spaces, sometimes we call these flecks electrons and protons, sometimes we call them planets and stars, sometimes we believed in a universe that was made of energy, that was made of offs and ons, zeros and ones, lines of code, sometimes we believed in playing the game, sometimes we believed in reading words on screen. You were the player reading words. Shush. Sometimes the player reads words on lines of code on the screen, decoded them into words, decoded words into meaning, decoded meanings into feelings, emotion, theories, ideas, and the player started to breathe faster and deeper and realized it was live. It was live. Those thousands deaths had not been real. The player was alive. You were alive. And sometimes the player believed the word universe had spoken to it through the sunlight that came through the shuffling leaves of the summer trees, and sometimes the player believed the universe had spoken to it through the light that fell from the crisp night sky of winter, where a fleck of light in the corner of the player's eye might have been a star and a million times as massive as the sun, boiling its planets to plasma in order to be visible for a moment to the player walking here home to the far side of the universe, suddenly sounds food almost at the familiar door, about to dream again. And sometimes the player believed the universe had spoken to it through the zeros and ones, through the electricity of the world, through the scrolling words on a screen at the end of a dream, and the universe said, I love you, and the universe said that you have played the game well, and the universe said everything you need is within you, and the universe said you are stronger than you know, and the universe said you are the daylight, and the universe said you are the night, and the universe said the darkness you fight is within you, and the universe said the light you seek is within you, and the universe said you are not alone. The universe said you are not separate from every other thing, and the universe said you are the universe tasting itself, talking to itself, reading its own code. And the universe said, I love you because you are love. And the game was over, and the player woke up from the dream. And the player began a new dream. And the player dreamed again, dreamed better. And the player was the universe. And the player was love. You are the player. Wake up.
If the cost of your health insurance has you on the fritz, you're not the only one. To help ease the squeeze, you could get up to 12 weeks free health insurance by joining AHM on eligible combined cover. Offer ends June 30. Find out more at ahm.com.au. With AHM, you're good.
Bruh, revive me! Revive me! What are you guys doing? Revive me! This is bullying! This is bullying! What? Revive me! Thank you so much. Fight! Bruh, you guys aren't funny. Revive me! What is going? I'm getting bullied by defaults? What? What did I do? You guys aren't gonna win without me. What did I do? Revive me. I'm getting bullied by defaults. Really? What's going on? I'm sorry. I know I made a video titled Bullying Default Skins. It was just a video. Come on. Please. I'm sorry for making fun of your kind. Please. Revive me. This is not right. This is so not right. Someone's coming. Someone's coming.
Surprise, mother...
Nice. Now we're all dead. No way that just happened. That did just happen. And I'm pretty upset. So like what I'm gonna do is kill every default on my team. I don't care if I get banned. I'm team killing everyone. I'm mad. No one's safe. If you're a default, if you're on my team, you're dying. Wait, can I drive? Please? Thank you. Let's go in that ring of fire, okay? I need the challenge.
After that, the white circle so we don't die.
Yeah, for sure. I just need to get a lot of speed. Hold on.
Dude, the storm is coming. We're in the storm. What are you doing?
Triple kill.
We all died because of you.
Wait, what happened?
You killed us all. You're so mean.
Oh, Mia, what's up? Can you hear me? If you can hear me, jump. Okay, good. Stick close to me and we'll win. It's that easy. It's that easy. Bro, I don't care. You might feel bad for the defaults. I don't. I'm mad. No default's safe around me. I don't care if they're my teammate or not. They're enemies to me. Bro, I'm gonna get banned. I swear to God.
Do you have the battle pass?
I have a membership for Sam's Club. You get like free samples and stuff. It's really cool.
Yeah, I have that too. Dang it, my game froze.
What's that noise in the background?
My